Hello everyone, welcome to the UKPN Open Mic Night. We try and do it once a week or whenever we can, just so you guys can have your say and you guys get to use the platform just like I do. So this is all about you guys tonight. Any questions you've got, feel free to whack them in the chat. If you want to join in, there will be a link that I'll post in there every so often. There it is again there, and you can come in and join the live chat as well. Before we get our first person on who is waiting, I just want to, I'm not going to go through all the updates as I've done in the past. I just want to mention that we've still got places on the Scottish Prepper Meet because a couple of people have emailed me saying they're waiting till payday and stuff like that. There is still some places. It's all still on the shop. Well, the shop is live, so make sure you get booked on that. Don't miss out next year. Just wanted to mention that one, and that's about it. Miss Worm and Evil Girl moderators in the chat tonight, so be nice, be kind, or they will remove you sharpish. Let's get our friend Ben on. How do you do, Ben?
How to do, everybody? Good evening, chat. Hello. Thanks for having me on, Mike.
No problem, no problem. I see you've got your radio set up there at the back. Have you been playing with your comms today?
I haven't been playing with it today. I was playing with it yesterday.
All right, okay.
Yes, I'm focusing on repairing a Switch.
All right, an essential PSP.
Oh,
Switch.
yeah.
That's how old I am, PSP. Switch, yeah, I know. Fun and games. It's usually the slidey things that go on the side.
That's what's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nightmare. Nightmare.
That,
yeah.
just for chat, that is what my daughter's like with a Joy-Con.
Some centered aggression there that you could harness during SHTF. This is why it's on topic.
Definitely. Hey, Grumpy.
Grumpy Adventures in the chat as well. Hello. Appreciate you all being here. Miss Worms posted the link for the Scottish meet there as well for the tickets, and also the link if you want to join in. Scroll up the chat, find the StreamYard link, and you could come and join us. Just general. There's no set topic tonight, Ben. So just general prepping and survival. I figured, the guys might get involved on the chat and ask some questions and what have you. But
hopefully,
yeah. So I just did that video, US versus UK. And the reason I did that is got quite a few comments coming in on the channel from the US recently. So I thought it'd be interesting to start entering some of them subjects. Do you think UK preppers aspire to be USA preppers, or is it just not feasible in this country?
It's not feasible in this country. Straight out the gate, it's not feasible in this country. There's vast differences. They got aircon built into their homes. Over here, we don't have that custom. We don't. Not custom. Sorry, we can, but it's a choice. It's not something that does come built into the property, and I know in America some places do. So, and I mean, Brian would probably be the best one to ask that, who's currently there now. But
he's probably loving the aircon. It's part of my builds for the off-grid system. The heating/cooling is going to be an aircon unit. So it makes no sense not to. I don't understand why we're so averse to it in this country. But it's more about the size and the land and the firearms, right? That's the biggest separation.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. Purple Ale said, "How's your arm?"
Holding together nicely. It looks a little gnarly still, to use the Aussie term, but yeah, it's holding up. It's all good. Thanks for asking, though, Purple.
Still got an arm. That's what matters.
Yeah. Joy's being a chuckle brother with Jay.
US versus UK. Can we swap Starmer for Trump, please?
If only.
I'd swap Starmer for Biden right now. And that's extreme, let's be fair.
Are we talking like first 6 months Biden or later presidency Biden?
Does it matter?
No.
He was useless at both parts, but at least he made sense. He could make a coherent sentence at the start, I suppose.
That is true.
Switches are a nightmare with drift, and I had to get contents insurance because my put the contractor through the TV.
Playing Mario Party. Oh damn.
Yeah.
What's Ben Solder? I'm not not soldering. I'm desoldering. I'm taking off a couple of switches from an old Xbox controller to go into the Joy-Con to fix the right bumper, I believe it is. Is that the right one? Hang on.
He's just melting
Left,
bits of
sorry.
plastic so he looks professional on camera. That's what
Oh
he's
yeah,
actually doing.
get
He's
everything
just
burning.
sat there, just melting little bits, going, "This looks really cool."
No, I gotta get it done. Otherwise, I'm in trouble with Mrs. RP.
Master Graphic says, Mike, I have a great idea for a weekend prep meetup. If you fancy a chat about it sometime, let me know. Jump on the Discord, Master. Send me a message by all means, or chuck me an email. Would you move to USA if Biden was still in charge, or is it only because Trump is in? No, I'd move. I wanted to move to America in. Let's see. How old am I, Ben?
31.
I wish. 25 years ago. Yeah, 25 years ago, I nearly moved there. And then about 20 years ago, I got offered a job and a house there and didn't take it at the time either. Irrelevant who's in politics. I just wanted to move there. Deserting the sinking ship that is the UK. I love the place, but till we can influence enough to change it, I don't know what's going to happen.
I wanted to move there about 10, 15 years ago. And I had the option just before I met Mrs. RP, but I turned that down to stay with Mrs. RP. And that was mainly for doing comic conventions and being a panelist and a judge.
Right, okay.
Most random things. I used to do comic conventions when I was a teen going into my later years. But no, yeah, that almost got me into America. But then I decided to stay with Mrs. RP.
You can take people with you, you know. Snapdragon.
Oh, I know.
How old? How old what? Me, I'm 21.
Whoops. I gave you 10 years. Sorry there, Mike.
I am actually 41, 1984. Poland has closed the borders. China is sweating. Timu is sweating, I bet. Yeah, Ben, when you've stopped melting that, let us know what's happened. You just told me something before we came on about that.
I did, actually. Give me a sec. So, talking of Poland, I was watching the Enforcer just before Mike started the schedule before the live. And if I pull it up, I can... Well, I can't pull it up per se because it's a video, but the title is... Where the Enforcer is gone. There he is. Russian drones attempt breach of Poland airspace. Poland prepares bomb shelters. And the description they've given is, Russian drones have attempted another breach of Polish airspace, causing a response by the Polish to ensure any drones entering their airspace will be shot down. Polish authorities are hurrying to prepare bomb shelters across the country, with a new app being created to direct citizens to their nearest bomb shelters in the outbreak of large-scale attacks. Venezuela. Oh, and then it goes on to say about Venezuela.
Theatres everywhere. Theatres everywhere.
Pretty much.
He's just testing NATO's response, I think.
And I do.
You think he's going to go in there?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I wouldn't say he wouldn't, but just not yet. Only because of this is the Zapad 2025 being a massive show of force enough as it is. If he is to try and push into Poland, I would say that would be early next year. I can't see it being this side of Christmas. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, it was how long after the exercise did he move into Ukraine?
Six to 8 weeks? No, longer, a lot longer than that.
I don't think it was that far away.
No, I think it was somewhere in the 12 to 14 week bracket, give or take. It weren't that long into it.
Did you see the footage from the Russian exercise?
No, I didn't pay attention to that because that deal with some personal matters.
Well,
so I'm still catching up.
It's okay. There you go. If you look at your screen now, this is the test nuclear exercise that they did.
Okay.
It's game over when you see more than one of them flying off.
Oh yeah, definitely. That is scarily impressive. I only say it that way just because YouTube purposes. But dang. Third impressive.
What I find interesting is how quickly they can go from stationary to launch.
Yeah.
It's not a slow process. It's not like the movies where they're going to launch. It's going like this so James Bond can get there in time. It's like up, off. That's it. It's already gone.
Or as Mrs. RP likes to quote, it's like battleships. When they do the quote of the "You're gonna die, I'm gonna die, we're all gonna die, just not today." It's that whole
Watched it. I don't
Oh,
think
it's
I've watched it.
brilliant.
Battleship's that one where it's like, isn't it a bit futuristic?
Yeah. It's where the aliens touch down in the ocean. You've got, who is it? It's Rihanna, isn't it? Mrs. RP? On the ship. Yeah, Rihanna's in it.
Rihanna's on the ship. Sold. There you go. I'll watch it.
There you go. Yeah, because one of the old guys on the ship turns to her and goes, "Are you ready to play with the big boys, Missy?"
Well, I've not seen it, but I'll give it a chance. I looked into moving to the US or Canada many years back, but due to a misspent youth, they wouldn't let me. Well, sorry to hear that, Dave. Oh my God, a huge marsh spider has decided to move in, made me jump. The spiders I've had this year, I like this.
Huge.
One ran across the floor. I thought it was going to pick me up.
Wait till it gets a baseball bat and then starts running back at you.
He's moved in, darling. We're moving out. Poland ain't taking any chances, says Rift. The economic crash is now showing in every way and affecting everyone now. World War III will follow shortly to distract from the economic fiat currencies collapsing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
see that being a possibility.
Definite.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it orchestrated? Is it just failing? Is it just a crumbling system? Has this empire seen its time? That's the question, I suppose.
Only time will tell.
Well, the lead up to war's a money-making process, right?
Yeah.
So, cheers, Mr. T.
I know what it is.
Don't forget, Europe has to be ready by March. Everywhere in Europe has to be ready by March. Apart from the UK, we're absolutely fine. We can just stick our head in that sand pit and don't worry, World War III will pass us by. Every other country in Europe must be ready. We don't have to. I'm going to post the link again if anybody wants to join in the chat. Is the UK ready? Not even close.
No. No chance.
Even with the increase of budget on defence spending, the time it's going to take to do that work, get them contracts, to get the tenders out, stuff like that, we're talking a few years before we're even starting to touch the sides of what we need.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're nowhere near ready. Some people in the UK are more ready than others. Hopefully us a lot. But only as much as we can be as individuals.
Yeah.
As a country, we're just absolutely not done enough. And it annoys me when we see this Trump and Starmer thing happening today. And as soon as Trump starts talking sense, Starmer glazes over.
Yeah.
You can tell he's got a fixed agenda. This is what's happening. And somebody could tell him the sky's falling, so you've got to change your plan, and he wouldn't. So, who's pulling his strings? It's 16:11 here in Orlando. Feel free to join from the stateside there, Brian, if you're sat in a hotel room doing nothing.
He's the on-location guy today.
Yeah. Who did that? Who did what? Interestingly, though, on my door-to-door knocking, I now meet one person a week who thinks World War III or Grid Down is coming. Back in March this year, it was rare to meet someone who thought that. Yeah. The grid down is part and parcel of it, whether that's through sabotage, whether that's through our ridiculous net zero agenda, whether it's through fuel shortages. As soon as if he moves into Poland and it becomes a full NATO thing, countries that we import oils and gases from, it's all going to be reduced. If everyone has to completely cut off Russia, I'm not saying that we're depending on their oil and gas, but other countries are. That has a knock-on effect, and we might not be able to import what we need to keep things going.
Exactly.
So, fun and games. Thank you, Mr. T. What's that missile about? Just joined. Ryan, that was from the it was the RS-24 Yars intercontinental ballistic missile from the Plesk Cosmodrome, and that's Russians simulating a nuclear response to an enemy attack today for the Zapad exercises. Not today, a while ago. Sorry. When was it?
Back last week? No. Hang on.
It's finished now, isn't it? It started on the 16th, didn't it?
That's right. It finished yesterday or today.
What do you think of the new? What do you think of the new AI deal? And do you think the UK will use it to overreach more to survey the UK? But 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I worked for an AMPR technology company. We were already working on facial recognition as well as AMPR, which is number plate recognition, object recognition, people recognition, stuff like that. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And we were already at a level where we could have put a single camera up and capture 8 lanes of traffic going at high speed and congestion and not miss a single plate and not miss a single reading with one camera, not a gangway of cameras with one single lens. So add AI into the equation, yeah, it's definitely going to be used to survey us. We're already the most watched nation in the world as it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rift already answered, Brian. Sorry, I'm behind on the chat, guys. Pembrokeshire Prepper, I'm not on the mic tonight, so you won't fall asleep. Come on down, Rift. Come on down.
Yeah, join the party.
Hopefully conventional war and not flash frying. Conventional will be bad enough. Yeah, I mean, it has to be conventional. It has to be conventional on Russia's part. They're never going to launch the first nuclear missile, whether that's a tiny tactical one or anything like that. They won't do that.
I'd say there's more chance of Iran doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's rogue nations that could potentially, but I mean, if it was NATO versus Russia, I don't think either side is stupid enough to set that domino going.
No, I agree there.
Trump's chopper did an emergency landing.
Oh.
Interesting. Any more information, Brian, or just that?
Wait, where though, Brian? What? Over towards the US or this end?
Let's have a look.
Because I did see something pop up.
Oh.
Ooh, do we still have those strawberry strongbow in the fridge? Oh, I'll have 2 of those in a minute, Tyler.
Donald Trump's helicopter forced to make emergency landing in the UK. Trump and First Lady Melania, I can never say her name, Trump were aboard the helicopter as the first leg of their journey back to the United States. Due to minor hydraulic issue and an out of an abundance caution. Out of an abundance caution. Overabundance caution.
Yeah.
The pilots landed at the local airfield before reaching Stansted Airport. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement.
Oh, that's funny as hell. Do you know what? That actually
was that a UK helicopter? State of our military.
Oh, if only. But unfortunately, no. I watched the coverage of them bringing it over in a C-130. And no, that's just ironic because earlier on YouTube, they put up a audio only from the White House. Trump gabbles with the press on Air Force One, and that got stopped. I don't know if any footage went up, but on our end, it came up. This video is now unavailable. So that kind of coincides roughly of when that took place.
Interesting. They began testing facial recognition decades ago with Vanguard in Northern Ireland. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's not even so. There's open source tech for this now. It's not even like elite anything. Let me see if I can find it still. There you go. Yeah, you only look once. It's called YOLO.
Yeah.
It's a series of real-time object detection systems that locate and classify objects and images by processing an image in a single forward pass of a neural net. And it's a neural net is a self-learning network, which is pretty much essentially what is developed into AI. So
that's fair enough. Almost sounds like Skynet.
Are you all set up for baby UK urban prepper turning 2? Yes, it's a frugal. It's going to be a frugal birthday. It's going to be a frugal birthday, but she's got some stuff. And yeah, one of our awesome gold members sent a donation as well to get some extra bits for her. So you guys are getting a presents as well, which was awesome. So she'll be told this is thanks to these random people you don't know. And she'll be like, but yeah, it's awesome. Ankle isn't great. Snap went over on it within 5 minutes of getting into Magic Kingdom on first day in tram track. That didn't help. Get the mobility scooter, Brian. Stop standing next to it. Sit on it. What pride comes right before the fall and the snap and the tear. All right, so just get on the mobility scooter and drive around Disney.
Look, Madge gets away with it on Benidorm. You'll just look even better. You're fine.
Oh, and make sure you get plenty of photos, Mrs. Scottish Prepper.
Brian made me do it on the back of his mobility scooter. Now that would be great.
Brian's going to be riding the Mickey Mobile with the rest of Benetton gang.
Actually, Brian, have you not have you? Are you gonna go and take a trip down to Disney Springs while you're there? Because the outlets just lately down there apparently have been really good on discounts.
Oh, you can't keep him away from a bargain.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So let's talk prepping. Questions, get them in the chat. People want to join in and bring up a subject, feel free. The link is there for you to use, for you to join in. Post it again. If you have any problems, let me know. So what's prepping for you this week, Ben?
This week, I'm solely focusing on getting a lot more practice in with comms.
Yeah.
So that's ready for any kind of SHTF scenario. And on top of which, and on top of which, just rotating the basics for me still at the moment, because that put a lot on hold. Just rotation of stock and checking it all out.
Are we on loudspeaker? Yes. Can I shout some Americans?
No, you can't.
Let's get Brian lynched.
Where are you going? We're in the hotel. 2-6. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Is that Art of Animation?
Which hotel is it?
All Star Movies.
Oh, All Star Movies. Nice.
Nice. Why are you in the hotel at 4 o'clock? Sure, you've got a full day of activities and.
We left at 6:30 this morning, and we were in the parks by 7:05.
That's not a holiday, mate. That is not a holiday.
We had done 99% of the rides by 12 o'clock.
That's not a holiday.
What were the crowds like at this point in time?
It's really quiet this year at this time. September's the best time. We've been coming here for, well, this is the 10th visit, and this is the quietest ever been.
Bloody hell.
Do you feel? I'd feel weird going around Disney without kids in tow. It's like I've no excuse. Sorry, guys.
It's this is the first time we've done it without kids.
Yeah.
This whole conversation sounds really fucking bad.
There's a guy behind you like that. What's he saying?
What's going on? But it's not the same when you can't share it with them. The experience. But my kids are all like 28, 25 and 23. So, and my granddaughter was here with us last year.
Yeah. So, like I said, you've no excuse to be there and not on a proper holiday.
I've got an excuse. I've married a Disney fanatic.
That's
But
an
it's been good.
expensive. That's an expensive hobby.
Yep.
It is an expensive hobby. That'll be what 23 grand in 12 months.
Add it up over the 10 years.
No, that's last year and this year.
Yeah, but add it up over the 10 years. That's mortgage-free retirement.
We could have paid our mortgage off and then some for the Disney trips. That's not counting the Euro Disney, Council Disney ones.
Could have bought that bunker.
But
What
would you say is more cost effective for you guys though? Disney cruise or the Disney holiday?
The cruise is just ridiculous. The prices. If you want a good cruise for all age groups, go Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
We've done. Sorry, I'm turning this into a travel agent show, mate.
That's fine.
Hey, it's still part of prepping. It's a bugging out way.
So when the missus starts up that booking holiday things, I'll come back to this video and add some links at the bottom. It's fine.
We've done MCS. They were all right cruises, but we're doing P&O Iona for 2 weeks in 6 weeks' time, and then we're doing Liberty of the Seas for a week in June.
Yeah.
Next year.
What everyone's interested in, Brian, before you have to shoot off, obviously, is what preps have you been getting and what have you seen?
I'll be going to the gun range when I'm out, as I try and do. Prep-wise, everything's so much cheaper. See, like, say, Augustin Farms, that kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous, the difference in prices. I would pay 165 quid, which is quite cheap for a 30-day meal box, if you like, for one person.
Yeah.
And I can get it here for about $93, so 70 quid.
Wow. So it's less than half price, pretty much.
That box generally averages about 200, 260 quid in the UK. We did a special on 99 quid delivered, but that was a one-off. The average is 165 quid delivered. So, what's this?
One question for you, very quick. What is the atmosphere there?
Would you recommend? Sorry, I never seen that. I can't really read very well on this.
Sorry, go. What did you say, Ben?
What is the atmosphere in America like right now? As in, with what's going on with Trump and everything over here, what can you gauge of that atmosphere out there right now?
I've not noticed any difference. I mean, we've been coming here a lot, and the people are lovely. They're very friendly. But you're in tourist town. You're in the parks.
But surely when you go to the range, them conversations can be a bit more natural, right?
Well, the last time I went to the range last year, I was talking to one of the guys about firearms, and he's like, "Do you shoot?" I was like, "I dabble." And I said, "I'm really jealous of you guys here." And he pointed at a Sig Sauer on his hip, and he says, "This is what freedom looks like." It's like, you bastard.
Whereas in the UK, this is what freedom looks like.
Yes, the three wise monkeys, and we don't have any.
I didn't know we had that.
Yeah, the question on the screen you couldn't read was, would you recommend Disneyland or Florida?
Yes, 100%. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
We've been coming here since my oldest daughter was a year and a half, and she's 28 now.
Brian gets a better signal with no flicking light over the pond. Just fly out for every fireside, Brian.
Maybe a bit expensive, mate. The budget might not stretch. But on that note, it's a flying visit. I'm going to Lobbies and Leavies. I just wanted to pop on and say hi.
No worries. Enjoy your holiday.
Stay safe, guys.
And you, Brian. Take it easy, man.
There you go. Guests from all over the world. That's what we like to see. Question from Gatwick Scuba was, what would be your best 5 meals to have as freeze-dried for your preps? Any meals that we can just freeze-dry randomly, like if we had our own freeze-dryer, or you mean pre-packed ones? I do like the mac and cheeses. They don't seem to be able to get that wrong. It's the same artificial cheese, no matter if it's fresh or freeze-dried. So that is one of my go-tos. And the stroganoff in the Ready Wise is really good as well.
That is tasty.
Yeah, it's good. They've got a lot of flavour. No nutrition, crap calories, worse for energy, but it tastes all right. Throw in some cut up grilled squirrel in there, bit of pigeon, they'll be absolutely fine.
And a little bit of red wine, if you can get your hands on it, job's a good one.
Yeah, if you could freeze dry anything though, Ben, what would be your favourite meal to if you could freeze dry anything? What meal would you like to rehydrate and eat after the apocalypse?
In all honesty, whether it tasted good or even if it tasted shit, I'd have to go down the whole route of scrambled eggs, bacon, little bit of mac and cheese, and if possible to freeze dry it, say in this instance, that what was it, space cosmonaut ice cream or something like that you could get in NASA. I'd have one of them with it, my dessert. That would be
have you
my
tried
meal.
them?
Yeah, I love them. We used to get them in Mankind back, Mrs. RP, was it last Christmas or the year before? Last Christmas, yeah, last Christmas they were doing them, and I bought about 4 packs of them. They were. Oh, I love them. I still got a sweet tooth.
Wow.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, it'd have to be a really good meaty lasagna that I could just freeze dry somehow. Or I have seen somebody that freeze dried McDonald's. I'm not sure how well the rehydration would go on that one, because even if it's been cold more than 30 minutes, McDonald's food looks like it's been there for 20 years. So
yeah,
that probably wouldn't end well for anybody's health.
Crunchy cardboard burger, nice.
That's what you get normally. Huge stock take of my home preps this week. Also setting up prepping binder info for family. Excellent prep, that Snapdragon. Setting up information for the family is a brilliant one. I have that in Elements, like instructions in boxes and stuff like that, but I do need to put together a book. I'll add it to my list, never-ending to-do list. Cancel Disney. I just saw that. What a swap. We got Trump, the USA got Brian. Oh, sorry, I didn't see these comments when he was on the screen. Yeah, when we were in Mississippi last year, a guy approached us asking, "Y'all like cats? Want to buy a cat?" Not quite tourist town. I mean, I've seen worse things offered to be sold to me on the streets of Manchester than cats, so it's not that bad. International guests, you don't like that on the grifting show. Don't get that on the grifting show. All right, okay.
Love it.
Jalfrezi would have to go on the list for freeze-dried meals. Yes, I imagine if you made a curry but pre-mixed it with rice, not rice on the side. I'm one of these that likes to mulch it all up together. If you did all that and then freeze-dried that, that'd be great. Yes. Yeah, that pretty much that, Gatwick. Yeah, cool. How the flip do you freeze-dry food? With a freeze dryer. It's a very expensive machine in the UK, actually. It's more expensive over here than it is, obviously, in the States, because it's just not done over here. You've got to absolutely hunt for it. Oh, they've gone down in price. 6 left in stock. Somebody message Brian. Tell him they've gone down in price.
Order now, just in time for him to get back.
This is a freeze dryer, £2,475. But think of the money you'll save. There's a link. If anybody wants to buy it using that link, you would really, really help the channel out.
Yeah.
That'd be the first time I've had more than a tenner off Amazon in commission. Yeah, so pretty much freeze dry anything. Mark, who is on the Discord as what's his name on Discord? He's got a raccoon as his picture. Chef Tech, he's called. Yeah. He does freeze drying. He's told me all about stuff. Don't freeze dry sweets though, like you see on TikTok and stuff. It'll wreck your machine eventually, apparently. So there you go, £2,475. Get two just in case one fails, and use that link. There you go.
Considering we are on the topic of freeze dryers, prepping, and survival around the world, considering we've had a very lovely visit from Brian as well, just a question to the chat. I know I don't speak up a lot, but have you guys been looking or thinking, in a sense, of your local bug out points if you need to, and have you been going through like home fortification, just a little checklist in your mind? Because that's something we've been doing a lot more of in the last few, what was it, sort of week, 2 weeks, we've really started going out. I've gone out looking at bug out locations, checking out our ones we do know of.
Yeah, local knowledge.
Yeah, and not just that, as daft as it sounds, call it militaristic, whatever you want, just local surveillance, because some stuff on the news isn't being reported because things are being said behind closed doors. Other things we're seeing is news coming out like what Poland has apparently just started doing. I'll only say apparently till I see it through like Reuters or something else, not just the enforcer. No disrespects to them, but one source is not as reliable as 3 or 4. So, we would go out and do some more sort of surveillance our end, but the home fortification, it's like, as daft as it sounds, your fences, if you've got old back garden fences, just check that the wooden plinths are still solid and sturdy and structurally sound, because ours has probably twice almost come down. Even though it's a council house and the council's got to come and do it up for us, I've gone out and put some extra bits of wood around it just to give it support till they can come and repair it.
Yeah. So what's the question? Are they out surveying, doing stuff like that?
Yeah, are you guys, sorry, I'll shorten it down then. So the question itself is, are you guys doing more in a way of home fortification and local surveillance to make sure you've got bug out points in the event of a bug out situation? Or if you've got to stay bugged in, or bugging in, sorry, have you been keeping up on your household fortifications? So checking on fences, things like that.
Yeah. Elusive Dark will say, yes, I camp at bug out points.
Yeah, same here.
I have joined local online neighborhood watch type thingy. That's a good thing, especially in peace times. It's a good thing. It's, if it was mushroom clouds in the sky, I wouldn't probably think neighborhood watch is going to do much. But if it's just locals scouting properties, then more eyes the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to reinforce my garden fences, says Paprika Lord.
Yeah.
Note to self, check fences. There you go. Yes, I found lots of half-built houses not finished yet, where they built them on soft sand. So my plan is to dig out the sand under the concrete, instant bunker in an hour. Ooh, make sure it's got the support.
Yeah. Last thing you want is a cave.
Otherwise, it's instant grave. We have somebody else joining us with no face. Hello, Jake.
Hello, Jake.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, I'm kind of new to prepping, but I've been following it for years, man, and I find it really interesting because I'm into like survival and things like that.
Yeah.
And I've watched it for years, but I'll be real with you. Since COVID, like I've always been in the know of all the stuff that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
But COVID really exemplified it for me, because when I see like so many other people just completely oblivious, I was kind of like
queuing at the shops and fighting over toilet roll. It suddenly hits home, right?
It does.
Yeah, I can't believe how many people are oblivious to all the things that's going on, and it really just made me think like maybe I should dabble into this more. If I'm into the survival, if I'm into the camping, things like that, why don't I just give it a go? You know. So I
Yeah,
started.
gives you a head start. A lot of preppers are the other way around, where they start by stockpiling stuff and then they start thinking about skills. But if you've already got the survival skills, it's an absolute great fallback. So anything you get now in your house
Yeah,
is just a bonus, really.
it's one of those though. I think where I don't think survival skills alone are gonna save you from what's happening.
No, I mean, and your entire house of preps might not save you. Depends what happens. You know, this is the thing. We can only do as much as we can. I mean, if you're new to it, Jake, what I would say is just be careful of rabbit holes. People end
Oh
up
yeah. No,
sat there
I've been
paranoid.
watching. Sorry to interrupt. I don't mean to speak over. This is
No,
my
no, it's
first time
okay.
being on a panel. I'm not trying to be invasive, but
It's fine. Don't worry.
I've watched prepping for a long time. I haven't done it, but I've watched it, and I know exactly what you're saying with the rabbit holes that people go down.
Yeah.
I consider myself pretty level-headed, but who knows? The more I speak, maybe people will say otherwise.
No. Even the most critiqued preppers on YouTube have nuggets of knowledge, and they'll
100%.
have videos that you can really take stuff from.
100%.
So you've just got to be able to see through a lot of the fear, doom, gloom to get them nuggets of knowledge, kind of thing.
And a point to add to that very quick is World Survivalist. He is a survivalist who has come on many times with Mike, and I've been on many times with Mike and Alan. And he said that even as a survivalist, he sees himself dipping more into the prepping now than he did, say, I think to quote him, sorry, Alan, if I get this wrong, mate, if you watch him, but I think like just before or just after COVID is when he started to think, I'm not just survival, I gotta look more into the prepping side of it as well.
Yeah. Jake,
is.
what got you into survival then? Well, was that just an interest in outdoors?
Or maybe I should give a bit of a backstory, but I'm 28 right now. I can't afford a house. I still live at home with the parents, but my dad was ex-Royal Marine Commando,
Okay,
and
cool.
he was always into survival, fitness, things like that. So as a kid, he always used to take me out the woods, making fires, making bow and arrows, dens, Tarzan swings, all that stuff. And I basically continued doing it. And now that I'm a grown man, you could say, I still follow survival, Ray Mears, even Bear Grylls. Right? I know people laugh at Bear Grylls because even me now as an adult, when I look back, it's hilarious some of the things that he would teach. But as a kid, it got me into it more. And I think if kids were to watch him, whereas like as I got older, I got into like more the Ray Mears side of things, you know, and then I went into Les Shroud with Survivor Man and things like that. But as
Lofty
a kid,
Wiseman's a good one to follow.
Lofty's a legend, you know. Everyone knows Lofty. I mean, the SAS books alone is enough to give you the respect for that man, and also his credentials is. I mean, who else has credentials like Lofty? There's not many people out there, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Bear Grylls really set that precedent when I was a young teenager because he had that more enthusiastic, energetic, like jumping over things, and you know, just it gets the kids' minds into it. But as I got older, I realized that his was more based towards Boy Scout to get you through the door. But the real guys are like Lofty and stuff like that. They're the guys that are really going to set you up for things to come in the future.
We've all kind of been on some sort of journey like that, whether it's Bear Grylls or whether it's following a certain YouTuber and you thought that was the be all and end all, but it branches you off and you start looking into things more. I have nothing but respect for Bear Grylls. It is a bit comedy value, some of the things he does, and it's for entertainment purposes. But like you say, if it draws them in and it gives them that interest, that's all that matters. They'll find the way after the fact. So it's still good. But any publicity is good publicity. I wish one of these people like Bear Grylls would talk about preparedness as well. Do something about preparedness, even if it's on their social media, because that would maybe increase the awareness of it as well.
Isn't he with a company to do with water filters or something? I've seen a few posts on Instagram.
He's got the ones that come into your home and filter the water at your pipes.
Are they any good? Because like I know there's a lot better ones out there that I already know of, but I've not really looked into that side of things with the company he's affiliated with. So.
the one he's affiliated with, yes, it's good. Yes, it works. Yes, it's overpriced.
Yeah, I was going to
So-
say it looked a bit steep, for what it is. But then
At the
again,
end
is it overpriced for water? Because at the end of the day, people forget the most valuable resource on this planet is water. People say they can go 3 days without water. I like to say to people, can you go 16 hours without water? Go 6 hours without water and tell me how you feel, especially if you're having to move and be physically active with like a rucksack full of gear. You're not going to do it. You're going to feel dizzy, sick,
cramps, yeah.
cramps. I mean, it's rough, it's really rough if you don't have
yeah.
water. And that's one thing I would say, that from watching prepper channels like yourselves and other people out there, the first thing I've gone into is the food and water aspect. I already knew about like the soya mini filters and things like that years ago, so I've already had them. But trying to ramp it up a bit.
The only thing I would say about the one that Bear advertises is that's coming through your water mains, right? So it depends what you're prepping for, because if we have a power cut that's prolonged, within a day or two, your water pressure's gone.
Exactly.
There's no water being pushed through them pipes, so them filters are just there. And while they're wet and nothing's coming through them, they're just going to sit there and go bad. So whereas I've got a gravity filter, stuff like that, so I can take water straight from the water butt outside, filter, put it through a millbank bag and into the gravity filter, and that's fine. If I wanted to sterilize it and boil it, I could. But there's different
pre-filtering on a micro level, like a millbank bag and a schmock and stuff like that you can use for your filter to preserve the life of your filter. Because even though like a soya mini, for example, you can back flush it, it's still going to have contagions and stuff like that and microbes in the actual filter itself. So if you want to minimize that to the highest degree, if you can pre-filter it with some sort of cloth millbank bag, then run it through the filter, then oil it, you're onto a go. You're onto a winner, really, like with that.
I would just say, especially prepping side of things, is prepare for something to fail as well. Do not get one water filter and think, right, that's my water sorted. So I've got the gravity filter, I've got live straws, I've got a soya, I've got the bottled water that is stacked up and stuff like that, and obviously I've got the water butts and stuff. So there's multiple sources there, and what Ben was on about before, local knowledge, that's key, 100%. Because that could be where you're going to refill from. If it happens in the middle of the height of summer and it's the hottest summer ever, we've not had rain, you can't just rely on the only water butt you've got. If nothing's coming through there, you need to know where to gather it from and how to deal with it.
Yeah, you're going to have to go to things like streams and source water that's higher up, preferably, because that's another mistake people make. They go to streams or they go to like stale ponds. And although you can filter them, if you do have the right things to filter to that degree, you're much safer going to a spring or up on a hillside where that less things have gone through the water,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Sorry, Mike. Well, you want to look for the most centered point in rocks as well, with not so much dirt and foliage around it when you're up. Sort of near us, the Brecon Beacons, up there you can get plenty of crystal clean water just off the side of the mount, off any side of the mountains. And that's pretty much closer to pure. And all it takes is a quick flush through, it's good to go.
Yeah. The reverse osmosis filter that I got, that is in the description of most of my videos, I drank water from the Leeds Liverpool canal. Using that, I did a video on it, so that tells you. I wouldn't recommend that. This is not advice. Nobody go and drink from the canals, especially around Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool. You can practically walk on the water, but it did work. That's the point.
Those Grail filters look good. I've seen a lot of people praise them, but I've never tried one, so I can't speak, for myself. But
if you're bugging out to a location and it's going to take you a week, for example, to walk to this location, Grail, perfect, no problems. For long term, depending how long term we're talking, they will go a lot quicker than like your soya. The filter 100%. Will go on it a lot quicker, and it's very 100%. Expensive. So it's everything you want has its place.
Yeah, you want something more long term, is stationary, I would say, like something that you could set up. It's on a bigger scale, because it's not just for, like you said, you walk into a location. It's for you and your family, and even when things haven't gone wrong, like you said, the water, that situation actually happened where we lived. There was a lot of floods, and it basically messed up the water station where we had in our local area. So they recommended don't drink the water for a week. And what happened was all the old pipes, some of them had burst. So they came in and reinstated all the pipes in the area. And even after the pipes were reinstated, there was a lot of backflush. So you couldn't drink the water. So people were, going out, buying water, panicking, this, that, and the other. But it's all to do with electrics at the end of the day. It's all electrics. If the facility that gives you your water is not up and running, you do not have any water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is it. And it's the panic buying that makes you realize how little people prepare in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I think is it a cultural thing with water as well? Because I see people that have loads of bottled water in and around like the Greater Manchester area, but it's because they've originally come from a country where that's the norm. So like even my American friends, they have loads of bottled water in the house because that's what they're used to. Whereas I think UK is a kind of conditioned to we've always got clean water coming out the taps, so it's kind of made us a bit complacent in that as well.
We've definitely rode the horse, I would say, post World War II up until now, in thinking that nothing's going to go wrong for us. Well, I think a lot of people have, but the reality is it could just be flipped on its head. I don't think personally it's going to happen like that. Like, I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing where things just go absolutely wild. I would say I prep more for like the small stuff, like the water going out. Even right now, I'm trying to update my passport, not because I plan on going anywhere, but if things do get that bad where I have to go anywhere, I've got that sorted. You
Yeah.
don't want to wait until that's the last thing you want to do is wait. Same with my driving license. Just renewed it. Didn't have to because I've only recently got back into driving a car again. Because through COVID, I sold my car. I had no reason to use it. I just walk everywhere. But now I want to drive again, so I reinstated my driving license. Even though I haven't got a car myself, if I had to hop in a car, I'm over the age of 25, and I could get insured, and drive anyone's car, and that gives me leverage and the ability to move, which is always important. If you can't move, you're stuck, and if you're stuck, I mean, what can you do? It's one of those things. So.
100%. So many people now live in cities, and we're such a condensed population, and there's everything's at your fingertips. So you don't even need to be able to drive to go and get your weekly shopping because everything's delivered now. So many people just think, I don't need a car. These people are going to be stuck in a fixed area come something happening.
It's funny you say that with the city. I follow a guy on YouTube. I won't mention it. I don't know if he wants his thing out this, but I'll just say he is from New York City and he grew up in Florida and he was homeless. And when the pandemic hit, he was in Manhattan and he said that with what everyone was basically saying to him, there's
not NY Prepper, is it?
No. It's a very small channel. He lives in his car. He's
feel free to say his channel name. I'm sure he won't mind.
Basically, his name's Joey the Gypsy. Okay. Joey the Gypsy. He was homeless during the pandemic, and he basically said everyone was saying about this virus coming in, and he didn't know what to do, and they were making it seem as if like the world was ending. And you know how it is in New York and Manhattan; it's craziness as it is.
Yeah.
And he was thinking to himself, if I have to get out of here, I got to get out of here before it shuts down, because they're not going to let anyone out if it gets bad here.
No,
and he was literally questioning himself, thinking, I might have to swim with all my gear, my homeless gear, and go across the Hudson River. He said, thank God he didn't have to, but he was to the stage where he was like so desperate that he was like, I may have to do this. And he thankfully was into survival, so he already had like poncho gear, things like that. But he said the amount of people that were completely clueless, oblivious, and he was actually grateful at that particular time that he was homeless because the rent prices were going crazy in Manhattan, and he couldn't afford it. And he said, I feel sorry for anyone right there and then that was one paycheck away from being homeless, because they ultimately ended up being homeless.
Well, this is it. And it's probably very close in New York and Manhattan, stuff like that, than it is in the UK, because like in rural United States, you could be living comfortably off a third of your paycheck, right? So you've got plenty of money to save. If you're in the inner cities, what they charge for like apartments and stuff like that, people over there just as bad as over in the UK living paycheck to paycheck, like literally every month. So yeah, it's easily done. Being in that situation teaches you a lot, and it's the one thing you can't prepare or
Yeah.
train for. It's being in that situation. When you're in a situation that's real, all of a sudden your body, it's a whole body feeling. It's hard to describe to anyone that's not been in it, but it's a whole body feeling, and it's sudden realization that this shit is real.
I used to.
That's when fight or flight kicks in.
I 100% agree with you. I used to play rugby, and I don't know what it was, but before every game, I always felt that like initiation of combat, that like feeling like I'm about to go to war, even though I wasn't, and I played 1,000 matches before. That feeling of like pressure that you're about to clash heads, it was always there. And I also did a bit of boxing when I was younger, and it was the same thing. No matter how many times I did sparring, before I laced them gloves up, I always felt that like pressure and that like anxiety, butterflies, whatever you want to call it. It never went away.
Yeah, you get that what if. So I did, you can just see it there. I did MMA, the white collar MMA.
Oh, nice.
And I trained with a proper MMA fighter from Wigan at the time, because I lived up that area at the time. And 6 weeks of training, it's not much at all, but literally
it's enough
the day to step in the octagon, I've never felt anything like it. Like the day before, the nerves were the day before. I was checking my life insurance, making sure the current missus was on it at the time.
It's scary, isn't it? It is scary. And the thing is, you think, oh, if you're a real man, you have no fear. Fear is what keeps you alive. It's the reason why you look before you cross the road. I mean, people that pretend they're not scared, it's delusional. Because
no fear means no sense.
Exactly. You know, if you didn't have fear, you wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't think about stepping off the edge of the cliff or walking onto the motorway, or, you know, not thinking twice about walking down a dark alley. It doesn't matter how big and strong you are. If there's 10 guys with baseball bats, you don't stand a chance unless you can outrun them.
And this is the mentality you've got to try and drill out of a lot of people. When I was originally looking for UK preppers and stuff like that, before I had my channel, when I was like looking for other people to get ideas from, there's a lot of lone wolves, Rambos, who are going to take on the entire world with a 50-pound pistol crossbow, and it's so illogical and so stupid. It's just they're literally living in a fantasy world. Vanessa said my rental 2-bedroom in the Bronx in 1987 was $400 a month, rent controlled. Today, their coupes and cost north of $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month.
Yeah, that seems about right. That's what Joey was saying. His apartment was costing. He said Upper Manhattan's up to like 5,000-6,000 apparently.
That's just absolutely who. I don't understand. I've never understood it. Who would choose to? I know some people are like, well, I was born here, I live here, I'll die here, kind of thing. That's fine if you've got ancestry, but who would literally choose right now to move into the most expensive area of the country? It's just, in this day and age, you don't need to be there for work. There's plenty of ways to commute. There's plenty of ways to work remotely. There's just no reason.
It's basically inducing self-suffering.
Yeah,
because you're having to work more just to say you live here or to be here. Like they say, oh, but I can't afford. It's like that $2,000 that you spend extra on rent would be much more beneficial. You living an hour away and spending that little bit of extra money to drive in.
Yeah, well, my mate moved into the centre of Manchester. This is about 10 years ago, because he loved the nightlife and he loved going out in Manchester. 2 months after living there, he couldn't afford to go out. We could jump on the train, go up there and go drinking. He couldn't afford it because every single penny.
That's the case, though, don't you think? It's sad that we're in a position where, like, you have to choose almost now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think you've got to be reasonable with what you do. You can't just say, you know, F it, go play all the time, because it's just not realistic. But at the same time, I think people right now are being squeezed to a point where there is no play. There's only work. There's only.
No, I'm looking for weekend work at the moment. So I work Monday to Friday as a web developer. So it's not like it's a half decent job. And to make ends meet or to save for what I want to do, as in go off grid and stuff, I'm having to look for work on Saturday and Sunday as well.
Well, right now, like I'm lucky I live at home because I'm not in work. I was working
Yeah.
as a labourer with my dad. My dad's a full-time bricklayer now, and he
Yeah.
wants me to get into the trades. He wants me to be an electrician, plumber, carpenter, whatever.
Do it.
And
Do it.
he makes good money, you know. Like he's been doing it 20 years, and he always says to me, like, son, you do a good job fast, you'll get paid any day of the week. And he's always encouraging me to do it, but it's that commitment to jump into it. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's a slow haul, and every self-employed builder has peaks and troughs, and they'll have moments where there's no work, and there's moments where there's loads of work, there's an abundance, and it goes through that all the time.
Winters for bricklayers.
With a skilled trade behind you. So I did joinery, many moons ago. With a skilled trade behind you, it's not just that. That is reusable skills in the world that we're talking about. In prepping, in survival, and stuff like that. Joinery is a great one because bricklaying and stuff is very seasonal and it is very weather dependent. But even if it was the worst weather ever, I could still go inside a set of houses and do a second fix. You know, it was.
It's true that, and I think that's why he's trying to push me towards the electrician plumbing side, because you can choose to work indoors. But even then, like, he's a tough guy. He's ex-Royal Marines. He'll put a tarp up over him when it's pissing down with rain, -3, and he'll just be there bricklaying. But he will even admit his hands are gone. Like, holding bricks and cement for that long, for 20 years in the cold, every winter, he says it will get to you. No matter how tough you are, it will get to you.
Oh, yeah. It's this is the life you choose if you want to work outdoors. I worked on the railways for a while. Try standing on an embankment near Edinburgh at 3 o'clock in the morning in like December, waiting.
You start
for a train to
questioning
come
yourself,
down.
don't you?
Yeah.
You question yourself. Even as
I smoked 80 cigarettes a day thereabouts.
Oh my God.
Between 60 and 80 cigarettes in a shift, just because it was chain smoking, because it was the only bit of warmth, and it was literally back to back for an entire shift, lighting one off the other.
That's insane.
It's not just that though, it's also if you stood there with nothing to do, even if it's your job, boredom sets and you smoke more. It's like with me, doing the repairs and everything as a side business.
Just say cigarettes were a lot cheaper back then.
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. And we used to have packs of 10. But no, it's like with us, we're smokers, and that's why I turn my camera off, because otherwise YouTube gets funny about it. But
Fuck 'em.
but no, at the end of the day, it's like now I had to cut down. Mike being 80 a day at that point. I think me and Mrs. RP were roughly 60 a day at one point, and now we're down to 20, if that.
No, I believe you, boys. I do believe you, because I have family members, my mum as well. Like, they used to chain smoke, you know, and there's years and years and years of saying to them, like, yo, cut down. And eventually they are starting to cut down. But it just goes to show you the power of addiction with nicotine, you know?
Oh, definitely.
It's real.
The prices of it.
Anyone on cigarettes, get the book. Get this book. Post it in there again. It'll cost you the grand total of £7.22 off Amazon. Don't get the audio version, because it's not the same sitting there listening. You need to read it. I was on about 30 to 40 cigarettes a day when I read that, and I still had half a pack of cigarettes in front of me. I turned the last page, and then I didn't smoke for 2 years. Not even a craving.
That's crazy.
And the only thing that kind of threw me off the wagon was having a cigar through lockdown.
Was you thinking about it beforehand? Like, before you considered stopping after reading the book, did you not think beforehand, preemptively, like, I need to stop this? Or was it something that played on your mind for a long time?
More smokers say I'm going to quit tomorrow, and I was that guy. And I tried patches, I tried nicotine, I tried all sorts of stuff.
We all say we're going to start the gym tomorrow, and we don't. You know, like, it's just.
It was one of those things. So I always thought of it, and then I always thought, well, I'm just a smoker. And it was at the point where I was in an office where I was the only smoker, and it was a secret Santa gift. I was fuming because I'd go all out for the office for Secret Santa. I'll get the joke presents and stuff like that, make somebody laugh. Somebody bought me a stop smoking book for Secret Santa. Oh, I was fuming. It went in my bag, it went on my shelf, and it didn't get touched for about a month. I was raging. And then I just got bored, started reading the first couple of pages, carried on. It took me about a month to read, because it wasn't like I need to do this now and stop. I just picked it up whenever I wanted. And as I got closer towards the end, I was reading it religiously and turned the last page, done, finished.
You know, it's funny you say that as well. Like you said, another thing I wanted to point up on as well is what you said to Ben like a minute ago. You said "fuck it." I love that. I love the fact that in your last stream or a couple streams ago with Brian and that you were saying like that Charlie Kirk thing made you decide to just say "fuck it." I'm going to speak my mind, and I'm glad that you actually openly said that on a
It
live
just reminded me to put
because
my things on.
it
Yeah.
literally gives people that are on the fence or scared to speak because the reality is if everyone speaks, they can't do anything about it. It
Yeah.
used
Right.
to be a few people would speak and then they'd shut you up. Now everyone's speaking, but they can't do it. Like Instagram's gone back on itself, Facebook's gone back on itself because X gave everyone a voice. They were losing viewership, so they had to almost ease off a bit. And now everyone on Instagram's going crazy, and it's just like that's how it should have been all along. This is how it should be all along. Like,
And there still might be backlash from that.
but
Oh, yeah.
you shouldn't worry about it. You shouldn't worry about it. The reality is the backlash comes from a percentage of people in a society. Like, I'm just going to say this now, like openly and honestly, I don't even care. The whole LGBTQ thing, this has been shoved down our throats for 10 years. And at the start, I was like, what the hell is this rubbish? You know, like, okay, fair enough. They want to be themselves. I'm a fair person. Go ahead, you know, as long as you're not hurting me. But then it started conceding into my feed and telling me what to do. And I got to a point where I was like, oh, I'm done with this. You know, I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to see it. Like, if they still want to do it, they can. It's fine, whatever. Freedom of expression, right? They can go ahead, but just don't imply it on other people's kids and stuff like. That's where they start to lose me because it almost feels like forced indoctrination, which I just don't agree with.
Yeah, and it's more so with stuff like that because they're getting them at the woke agenda is getting them at school level, school,
yeah,
college, and
100%,
university,
100%
and
agree.
that's the problem. I'm on the more of the wavelength of Ricky Gervais. Like,
I agree. I'm the same. Yeah.
Why be offended? Who achieves anything? And most of the people offended are not even the butt of the joke. You know, they're not even anything to do with it. They're just somebody fresh out of college who wants to be offended at something, who wants, basically, they want to feel superior.
I also feel like they've got our heads in a wrong kind of area. We're worrying about this stuff when there's stuff like the Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine. And I know, like,
Perfect
it's funny.
distractions.
It's funny because I watch this stuff and I see how like angst up people get over it. And there's these like things online of like black fatigue and all this lot that's going on. You see all this like stupid stuff online. But I'm genuinely starting to get like, you know, woke fatigue, and I'm genuinely starting to get Israel Palestine fatigue, and I'm genuinely starting to get like Russia Ukraine fatigue because what I care about the most is the UK. I want the UK to prosper. Now, I do like looking into the Russian Ukraine war because it sets a precedent of like that could be us. It's never like when I've watched all the videos. I've gone to like websites to see firsthand the uncensored footage of people on the front lines, and a part of me feels so like sad. I think it's because I see myself in them. I think as a man, I see like that could be me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that it's a good way to get you thinking around the right track. It's obviously not a good thing, but it's a good way to get you thinking down the right track. And what I would say is it's always good to keep your eye on all that media because it can quickly spread, it can quickly change and stuff like that.
People's minds are getting like toxicated. It's amazing to me how fast people pick a side. It's amazing. It literally, like even with like I'll just say it, even with the Israel Palestine stuff. I don't like what Hamas did to Israel. I think Israel had every right to go and attack them. But, and this is where the but comes in for me. Once I started seeing children getting bombed, I was like, that's like, is that just casualties of war? And then I just start saying to myself, like, if I was the guy given the orders to send the bomb, knowing that it may potentially blow up a bunch of innocent people, would I be okay with it? And I have to always come back to myself and say, no, I wouldn't. I'd have to say no. And so there's two sides to every story, right? There's his side and her side, and then there's the truth. And I think that's the problem we've got. Everyone is on a different side, but they're not looking through the middle and seeing like the intricacies, the things that like you should be paying attention to. You know, this isn't about side picking. This is about seeing things for what they truly are, you know?
Yeah, it's difficult because all I would say is war from any front, from any angle, is not good for the
No,
people on the ground.
innocent people are going to die. It's just
And
a
it's the
reality.
same. It's been the same since World War One. What the people telling to go over the top and charge at that line of machine guns were
Yep.
in a comfy office somewhere.
Like at Dresden in World War II. We
Yeah,
bombed
they were
Germany into oblivion. Like,
Yeah,
they bombed London into oblivion, and we just sent it straight back. And it's not right, it's not moral, but there is no rights and wrong in war. There's only people that win. That's the reality. The reality is who's left. There's a quote, I can't remember what it is, but it was along the lines of like, war doesn't determine who's right and wrong, it determines who's left. I can't remember who said it, but it's so true.
yeah. It's
And
even
if I-
more true the more destructive it gets. Was it the quote that was? I don't know what technology World War III will be fought with, but I know that World War IV will be sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones. Yeah. Yeah.
I will like to say that I can't remember if it was Evil or if it was Glass from the Discord. Sorry, Evil, if I got it wrong. They're gamers, and there's a saying in one of the games I play, and I know one of those two do play the same, and it's war. War never changes,
100%.
and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what we're seeing now. We're seeing
Drone warfare is scary though. Like, I see some of these clips from Ukraine, and I was watching a video where mercenaries from Canada, Australia, and the UK were in the trenches on the front line, and all you could hear was zzz, boom, like these drones just coming in, and it's like the sound effect. People aren't scared of the sound effects of bullets whizzing over their head. They're scared of the sound effects of a drone flying over their head, and I looked up online. Apparently, like, Ukraine's making like 4 to 5 million drones a year, and Russia's on a scale that they can't even compete with. Like, the scale of the drones that Russia's pulling in, it's terrifying. It's literally terrifying. And then they've got kids who can play Xbox or Call of Duty, and they're the drone operators, and they're just
Yeah, I've heard that. I've
Mhm.
heard there's a lot of gamers that have been
I'm a
drafted
gamer
into
myself, and I can see why they would pick us up, because like, if you're good at a game or racing game, it just makes sense to pick them up. They're already
If it's
skilled.
simulation based, yes, like your War Thunder or your DCS, I could relate
It's
to that.
scary though, man. It's scary.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing Toys, the Robin Williams film, where he had a room full of kids thinking they were playing video games, and they were actually flying real drones. This was predicted
yeah.
in the late
What's that
80s,
film
early
with
90s.
Jim Carrey? The
I'm not
Truman Show.
Yeah, there's that, but they also done it in what was it? I think it was just called War Games, and the teenager was an American teenager, and he thought he was playing a video game, and he wasn't. He was controlling all the forces in the US.
Oh, that was the old,
Jesus.
yeah, War Games, yeah.
Yeah.
They did a kind of re-thing of that Xander's game or whatever it called.
And you've
That's
got-
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's,
and that- go on.
it's if you want to look at anything, you just need to look at films from like the early 90s. Most of them got it right. We're just waiting for Terminator next.
Which, to be fair, the way tech in the world is going, the way China and all is producing newer, almost look-alike models to the US for their armed forces, it won't be much longer. I'd say within easy 8 to 10 years, we could see something similar, if not almost identical as Skynet.
A thing that I would like to say as well for everyone watching is, like, I see a lot online of people saying, "Oh, he's a great leader. He's a bad leader. Putin's a great leader or a bad leader." The point I would say is, like, whoever's a leader of a country, you've got to take it back to yourself again. Look internal. You've got to say to yourself, if I was the leader of a country, would I willingly send my people to war?
Which
Or would I put my people in a position of war unless there was literally no way out? And this is the thing, like, you've got to avoid war at all costs, and I mean at all costs, because the reality is war takes away all costs.
But the caveat to that is everyone enters politics with good intentions.
I agree.
Right? As soon as they get an MP salary and a bit of power, them good intentions fall by the wayside. All right. When it comes to war and military action, to be seen to do nothing, or to give a weak response as a leader or a country,
oh no, I agree,
makes you a target. So there's something to be said for posturing, for one thing, but if it escalates, you cannot sit back and go, well, they escalated it, but I don't want it to carry on, so I'm not going to do anything.
Agree.
because you just you put your entire population at risk in that case.
I 100% agree.
And I don't want to get into the politics of the Middle East and stuff like that, but there's arguments to be said for both sides. Nobody wants to see children and stuff like that. Nobody wants to see that at all. But it's when people are hiding behind stuff like that, then
I know where you're going. I get what you're trying to say, and I fully agree with you, man. Like these people, like if you're talking about Hamas, right? Let's be real. Like they are using children and people assuming they've always
tunnel
had
entrances under hospitals and schools.
This is what terrorists do. This is how they operate. They don't operate on a mole. Like we have a thing called the Geneva Convention. And when our soldiers perpetrate the Geneva Convention, like they did in Afghanistan with that one guy that shot that wounded Taliban soldier, I can't remember his name, but he got prosecuted. They don't operate like that over there in a lot of these like terrorist factions. They don't operate like that. They look at it as like we do our thing, they do their thing, but we're going to do our thing regardless. And this is how Boko Haram, Al Shabaab, all these terrorist organizations do. I mean, people talk about what's happening in Israel, but there's something that's very quiet right now. Is what's happening in Nigeria. The amount of Christians that are being killed by Islamic extremism in Nigeria. Kenya, for example, they have a lot of Al Shabaab Somalis going into Kenya and killing them. And people don't speak about. I mean, the whole thing of the SAS guy. What's his name? He did the Obi-Wan Nairobi. The guy that he helped the Kenyan services, the SAS operator. If you type in Obi-Wan Nairobi SAS, I forgot his name, but he's an ex-SAS operator. He helped with a terrorist intervention in Nairobi and got awarded for it. He killed 2 terrorists. He went there. He was there in like jeans and a balaclava and just went in and helped the authorities. Craighead, yeah, that's it. That's the guy. That guy's an absolute legend, man. He saved so many people in Kenya in that. I can't remember if it was a hotel or a facility. But he literally represents what the SAS is. You know, who dares wins. He dared to do the right thing that day and saved countless people's lives. Yeah. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. The only way that evil prevails is if good sits back and does nothing, right? That's the old quote.
Yeah. So yeah,
good guys need to be better with guns than the bad guys.
Yeah. No, definitely, 100%. Dave said, if you don't conform to the Geneva Convention, you shouldn't be protected by it. Eye for an eye.
You know what? That's interesting. That's an interesting.
We are also
point.
at the mercy of the info we are giving by the mainstream media, says Mad Chick Acres. Very good point.
I agree.
Who said that? Was that Dave that said that then?
No, Mad Chick
About
Acres.
the Geneva Convention, yeah.
That's a very interesting point because it's like, do you just fight fire with fire?
Well, so let me give you the conundrum that a squaddy friend of mine gave to me, and it's rules of war.
Yeah.
You know, we've had them for a very long time, and things like the Geneva Convention are obviously there for a reason to protect certain things. But they got to the point where an engagement was going like this. There's somebody coming towards them with a grenade. They can't shoot them because the pin's still in the grenade. And they're not a threat. They pull the pin out the grenade, they're still coming towards them. They can't shoot them because they're still holding the grenade, so they're not a threat. They throw the grenade towards them. They still can't shoot them because they no longer have a grenade. They're not a threat.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So at what point can you legally engage that person?
There's a reason they call the Taliban a ghost army, because they would, riding on motorcycles in batches of 2 or 3, dressed like the civilians, because that's the attire that they wear. They'd go into the small pocket towns or villages, fire pop shots, dip out of the village, and the soldiers of the British couldn't shoot unless they were shot at. And it's like, how do you fight that? And they call it the graveyard of empires, because it's so mountainous and it's so like traverse to kind of cover that country.
Mm-hmm.
And people laugh at like British and American troops. Ha, you couldn't even beat guys in sandals and AK. But the reality is, it's not them. It's their way of fighting in the region in which they live in that gives the geography itself gives them an advantage. This is why the US is near impossible to invade. People think Afghanistan's hard. Afghanistan's not even the size of Alaska. Alaska's like twice the size of Afghanistan. Now imagine trying to invade that when it's freezing cold, -40 in winter, and that's just one US state.
Oh,
Then you
yeah,
picture that they're blocked by the Pacific and the Atlantic. Texas alone's two and a half times bigger than the UK. That's another state. You still got 48 states to try and cover. And then you've got to go through the Florida Everglades. I mean, who wants to do that? There's a reason they got that prison right now for all the illegals there with alligators and like, do you know what I mean? So this is why America is so powerful, because they have every biome and also landmass, and they're protected from the north to the south. They're the real. If I looked at any country on the planet, it would be America or Russia that are really the two countries that are the graveyard of empires, because people can't even try because they're so big. They're so big.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take a significant amount of strategic planning and complete and utter loss from every side that it just doesn't seem strategically worth it for China or America to fight. The fight isn't with weapons.
Oh,
it's
it's
with money.
never
with
going to be.
You know,
It's never going to be beneficial. The ramp up to war is where they make their money and stuff like that. An actual war, full-scale war between major nations like that is never going to benefit anyone. I think we can all agree on that. It's just a case of it only takes one tin pot hat leader to press a button, unfortunately.
to give off the nukes. Yeah, that's a whole different story. You know, that's that's basically that's Armageddon. You know, that's at that point, what can you do? You know, because everyone's going to press the button once one's
Mutually
launched.
assured destruction. Assured destruction. Mad Chick Akers said Obama removed the Smith-Mindy Act in '98. That act denied the government's ability to spread propaganda through the mainstream media. So let that sink in and look it up. That's very interesting. Why would you abolish that act without sinister purposes? To beat the devil, you have to become the devil, says Brian.
Actually, I wanted to ask you a question, Mike, about the country. Where do you see
this one?
Britain? This one, yeah, UK. Where do you see the country going in the next 10 to 15 years?
The same as it's always gone, but
Downhill?
to more extremes. Well, we constantly want to blame the previous party. So we've gone for many years, Labour, Conservative, Conservative, Labour, Labour, Conservative. That's been blown out the water in this last election. The Labour Party is gone after the next 3 years.
I agree. I mean, Starmer's put the nail in the coffin there for me personally. I've never voted in my life, by the way. I believe that my philosophy is voting doesn't matter until it matters.
I think Conservatives will get in power by default. And I hate to say it, because at one point everyone was like, we'll vote reform, we'll get reform in. But now you've got Ben Habib doing Advance UK.
And also Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, you've got other parties springing up. So what they've just done is they've took the slightly right of centre all the way to the extreme right. That entire voting population, they've now just split that. Because they've all started these own parties.
You're on the same mindlength as me of how you'll see. 100% agree with you. 100%.
So we're going to end up with another default government that get in, not by popular vote, just for the sake of we've all been split. And at some point, I don't see a civil war in this country like many YouTubers are saying. All right, I've talked about it, and it depends on your definition of it. I don't see we have the logistics to do it. It would have to be a complete secession of an area and a general in the army to then take actual resources, because at the end of the day there's nothing to challenge the government forces. The reason the Americans have right to bear arms is so they can never have a tyrannous government. It's so they can overthrow their own government. This is what the whole their whole charter is about.
I agree with you 100%.
We don't have that, and we don't even have the right to free speech.
Which is sad, because it literally, the UK was about free speech, and this is what I'm saying. Everyone here tonight and in the chat, start speaking up. They can't imprison all of us. They just can't. They can't do it, you know. And don't let them make you think that you're a criminal for doing so. The real criminals are them for doing it to you, for putting you in a cage. You know, it's a crazy set of affairs we've got going on right now, where they've like almost deluded people into thinking that they are the problem. when actually they bring the problem, then they bring in a solution saying, oh, this is our solution, and then it shuts people up. No. They deliberately made this problem so that they could bring in a solution so that they'd shut you up. It's the same with digital ID. Oh, don't worry, we're doing all this for you guys. It's like, get out of here, man. We know what you do.
That's digital IDs are a tip of the iceberg. Wait till they digitize the entire currency, and they can stop you buying your steak this week because you had your quarter of meat, because they can see every single thing
that in
you
China.
spend.
They do that in China. They put you on billboards if you do anything remotely wrong, and then basically put a reduction tax, not a tax. I don't want to say tax. It's like a pause, like you would say with the meat, on your social credit score. It's like a score that they have based on you, and you can either build it up or you lose it, and they can decide whether to just sweep it under the floor and take it away. And I seen a comment on Instagram. Someone was like, "Why are you scared of digital ID if you've done nothing wrong?" And that's like, you're missing the entire point of. It's got nothing to do with whether you've done right or wrong. That's the surface level.
Why can't the government tap every single call ever if you're doing nothing wrong?
Exactly.
Why can't you live in a complete nanny state if you're doing nothing wrong?
Exactly.
Welcome to 1984, everybody.
George Orwell.
Exactly. That's unfortunately the way we're going. They've already, and it's not. I'm not even going to say this is Labour. This is government, because
100%.
It wasn't Labour in power when they did an exercise in control. Yeah. Oh, look, we can make them all stand 10 metres apart. Oh, look, we can tell them that clothes are a non-essential item and stop them buying clothes at a supermarket, because apparently clothes are non-essential. You'd arrest me if I was running around naked, though. And we can make them stand out on a Thursday and clap like seals.
It's funny you
and
say
we'll
that.
make them stay in. We'll make them go to work. We'll make them not go to work. Work from home if you can. Blah, 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 blah. And it was just an exercise in control. And what did we do? Most of us stood up, jumped, clapped our hands, got a shot in the arm, and carried on.
It's funny you say that. Lee Evans had a joke about being on your holiday. You walk around the shops in your Speedos with your missus and no one bats an eye. He said you walked into your local Asda's in your Speedos. People were looking and go, what the fuck is going on here, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
He's a legend in himself, mind, isn't he, that guy? But
Ben is doing repairs to a Nintendo Switch, Brian. He's not doing a cross-stitch, but thank you for asking.
No, I am shit at stitching.
the thing that scares me? I'm not scared. This is just language, you know. I'm not actually scared, but the thing that like prompts my mind with war nowadays, people are like, oh, we're an island nation. That was a benefit years ago. I actually think we're more of a sitting duck now that we're an island.
Yeah, because we've nothing to defend with.
We can't leave the island as easy if anything does go. Years ago, you could stop ships, but now there's like hypersonic missiles and drones and stealth radars and all this stuff. We're on an island. We have nowhere to retreat to once that. So like have you heard the idea of Singapore? I think it was Lee Kwan, the leader. He died, the guy that made Singapore what it is now, which is a superpower like in its own self, even though it's a city state.
Yeah.
Its GDP, I think, is bigger than the UK, and its military is better than the UK. Well, his premise was basically, we know Singapore isn't the biggest and the baddest and the strongest and never will be. But if we can turn this state into almost like a hornet's nest to where you could take us out, but it would be at such detrimental cost that it wouldn't even be worth trying to do for that little amount of land. And I feel like if UK military had that approach to making our military so strong and our navy so dependent on our own GDP with our own spending, and then we kept ourselves to ourselves, we need to stop getting into these foreign wars and all this crap.
We did for hundreds of years.
Yeah, the British
Empire, our navy was the best in the world. Nothing could touch us.
I agree.
We were an island nation, so what do? You build up a good navy. And that has just slowly become on the way by. Military, over the last 30, 40 years, has gone, just take the budget down a bit. Oh, there's going to be no war. There's going to be no war.
Yeah.
Imagine, people talk about people burying their heads in the sand. It'll never happen to us. How many people do you reckon said that after World War One?
Not many.
As it was leading up to World War II, things were happening, as newsreels were coming over about Czechoslovakia and stuff like that, how many people were going, it won't touch us. It'll be fine. It'll never happen again. Nobody will do that again. So many people will have said it. And I bet there was people that were living in Ukraine that thought it would never happen to them.
Do you know Christopher Hitchens, by any chance? He's dead now. He was an atheist. I mean, I'm not an atheist myself, but he was an atheist, but he was incredibly intelligent. And one of the things he said years ago, someone was basically mocking the US forces and European forces, calling them like real terrorists and stuff like that. And I don't think soldiers of the army are. I think governments of, like with the Iraq war, I'm completely against. When I see like what that turned Iraq into, which led the way for ISIS, it's just a mess. Anyway, that's another story. But one of the things he said to the person in the audience is, "Don't insult the people that guard you whilst you sleep." And that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
People always say like, "Oh, this, that, and the other" about soldiers, but without a good army, you don't have comfort, you don't have peace, you don't have freedom, and you also need a good leader, like a responsible leader, not just one that is all powerful and
When
can
you
do
find
all
one, let me know and point him out, because I think Churchill was the last one.
Yeah, he was.
Do you know what's crazy? Right, Churchill, he wasn't. There's some things that I didn't like about Churchill, but you got to weigh him up, right? You got to
Churchill
weigh him up.
Churchill wasn't a good peacetime prime minister. He was an absolutely awesome wartime prime minister. Two different types of prime ministers.
This is exactly, you got the right premise there.
Yeah.
People always go on about what happened in India with the famine, which is disgusting. It's not nice. But do you know, he brung the supplies back because of what was happening in Europe. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh, we need them right now," because it would have been the same kind of thing happening in Europe as what happened in India. And I'm not. This almost comes across as me defending him, but there's a reason for every decision, and I'm not saying it's morally right, but it's one of those things. It may not be morally right. But who is morally right? Let's get off the high horse here, I'm wrong sometimes.
On a grand level, that's on a large scale. On a smaller scale, you come first and your family comes first before somebody's family you don't know. And that's
definitely.
what it should be with your
That's
country.
What patriotism is.
That's what
it's
exactly.
Standing for what you love the most, which is your family, your friends, and like country. But I feel like this country's lost it. I want to bring that back. I want for the country to be how it used to be, when people were so proud. But it's like we're in a stage right now where like it's almost like diluted.
It's gonna take. You asked about 10 years timeline. If either a couple of them parties unite or the country gets behind one of those parties that are looking at big change, and they get in power and they actually commit and do that and make the drastic. Nobody wants to rock the boat when they're in power. Look how quickly MPs get fired for scandal and stuff. Nobody wants to rock the boat because they're getting a nice hefty wage and they're living a comfortable life. But if they get in there and they actually make the changes, I'm not saying it's going to be back to the glory days of the UK.
No, I don't think that either. But
it's not going to get worse, and that's probably the key for right now. I would take not getting worse.
We need some decorum of like what Britain stands for, which is free speech, freedom of expression, morals, like Christian values. Obviously, like again, I'm not a Christian. Like, to be honest, I don't even know what I am. I'm not an atheist. I say I'm an agnostic. I guess I don't really know where I stand, but I do know I stand with Christian values, 100%. Like, there's a reason why America is the way it is, Canada. I'm not talking now with like the influx of illegal immigration. I'm talking about the premise of how these countries were founded on. So when America was founded, the forefathers and stuff like that, they were mostly from European and British heritage. Same with Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and obviously the UK. There's a reason, you got to look at, there's a reason why for so long those countries succeed. And I know people go on about like all this other, they try to guilt trip you and things like that, but people forget that every other country that was an empire was doing the same stuff, was doing the same thing. The Ottomans killed Greeks and Armenians. They used to load the Greeks into churches, trap them in there and set them on fire. The Armenian genocide, they killed over 1 million Armenians. No one really speaks about it. If you even mention it, I think someone, like one of the Turkish politicians or something, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, but they basically denied the Armenian genocide, where they killed 1 million Armenians. Imagine if the British Empire killed 1 million people outright. Oh, we'd never hear the back end of it. We would never.
Our numbers are well above 1 million, I'm afraid.
No, I know they are. I'm not saying that we haven't killed. I'm not saying we absolutely have. But the point I was trying to put to that is
in that kind
we
of
get all the stick,
yeah.
you know, and but
Yeah.
the thing is, we get the stick, but today as modern Brits, me, you, and Ben, we never killed anybody. So it's like, why are we punishing somebody for like the idea that your granddad killed or your great granddad killed somebody, therefore you have to suffer for it? It's ridiculous. It needs to stop. Like you can't keep holding that type of view, you know. If someone's great grandfather did something, one that ends with him once he dies, you know, it doesn't go down to the poor child or grandchild.
So I'm the religion side of things, right? I'll say I'm Christian, right? Okay, not a problem. But I think there needs to be a definite separation between that and politics.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% with you there.
Because it is what it is. It's the right to religious freedom at the end of the day, and I support that in a way,
But,
as long as it's not forced upon people, and it's a good standing for morals, right? It's the foundation of morals from as early as we can remember. So that's the good point about it. And like you say, every country has their own, and I'm sure a Buddhist nation have similar morals.
Can I put this to you, Mike?
Not killing and stuff like that. So it should be used as a moral compass, but state and wars and government and everything like that should be definitely separated from it, in my opinion.
Can I put this to you, Mike? You say church and state separate, which I agree with. I'm 100% on board with what you said. That's the fairest way to do it, because if you do bring in some religious nutcase that takes either religion, Islam or Christianity or Judaism, to the full extreme, that then does subjugate a large portion of the population that doesn't support that, and then you're in a totalitarian kind of system, right? So I agree with you there. But the point I'd actually put to you is religious freedom. I want to say to you, do we tolerate the intolerable?
One sec, if I can just jump in. Mike, Chef Tex asking if we're staying live for a bit more. Toss him the link, please.
Yeah, probably is 20 minutes at the most for me, but I'll send you the link. Oh, no, that's not the link. That's the Amazon link. Don't click that.
That is a link, though.
Yeah. Got what you're saying about the religious freedom.
So my question to you is, should we tolerate the intolerable? 100%. Because I don't agree with that. Because I think, what is the word tolerate or tolerance come from? It comes from the word to tolerate. What is it to tolerate something? To put up with something. How long do you put up with something that really you shouldn't put up with?
How long?
Well, it's religious.
This is the question. You see, like, how long do you put up with it?
Right, but it's religious freedom in the aspect you can practice whatever religion you want.
But if
extremism is a different story. Yeah,
so that's where you bury the line.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to draw the line and stuff like that. You can practice your religion by all means, but I can pick up a Bible and read a verse and take that in a positive way. Somebody else can pick up a Bible and read a verse and think, I've got to now go out and kill 50 people. And I'm not saying there's a verse in there that says that, but people interpret these things in different ways. I'm sure they have the same with the Quran, with any holy book, anything like that. It's people that are the issue when it comes to extremism.
I agree with you 100%. Go on, Ben. I know Ben wanted to say something.
I was just going to say it's down to the same old. Hey, Mike. Hey, dude.
Hey,
which is, at the end of the day, it's down to matters of perspective. I could read, like Mike said about reading the Bible. I believe in Valhalla, okay? I'm all to do with Nordic and Viking back-ins. So, totally different to Mike. Mike's Christian. But it's all down to a matter of perspective.
Well, can we talk about intrapersonal things in the religion? So, I'll just say it, Islam. They have halal food. I don't personally agree with that practice. But is that a piece? Should I have to tolerate them to be able to do that? Because this is where I feel like I don't like to set the boundary, because just because I don't agree with it, does it mean that I can't let them do it and have their religious freedom? But to me, I look at that as animal torture. Me personally, I'd rather pull a bullet in their
I see the same thing. I also see it as, yes, it's their religious thing. However, when we are now being told we must also do the same thing, that's a different topic right there.
I agree
right.
with you.
So the halal thing's a whole different debate, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
For
you
a
wanna-
I'm not
longer night.
sorry for segueing that, but
No, it's fine. It's what I would say is some of the depictions you see where people say this is how it's done. Oh my god, this is horrendous. Is few and far between. They do actually stun them and stuff like that now.
My
There
mate
is
Curtis
humane
works
practices
in,
and doing it, but it's not a case of that. I mean, you could twist that argument and say every single vegetarian in the world thinks you torture animals because you went and bought a chicken breast fillet from
Oh
Sainsbury's.
no, I'm for eating meat, by the way. I'm a meat
No,
eater.
I'm saying,
things like
but
that,
your view on halal
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
somebody's vegetarian's view on you.
100%,
So,
100%.
I'm gonna throw you all's brains for yes. I'm in America. I'm gonna throw everybody's brain here for a really twisted mess. Halal and kosher are almost identical. They both. I know the culinary field. They both remove the animal from life in
Yeah.
a very, very similar way. Period. Which makes you go, that's weird. And pork and there's a lot of things that go back and forth between the two, yet they're mortal enemies.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you
Plain
there. I agree. But I'm thinking for the UK, right? We're a predominantly Christian country. We want to live by Christian
Right.
values. So should we then allow people to just have halal food? Because
Well,
then
now-
this is the thing
allowing
that
them to
you said,
take over
Chef,
and
right?
do basically make the rules and make the laws. If you want to look at it that way, there was a video I put up on I forget whose channel it was. I think it was Jaren's channel, Shadow. It was done by a scientist, and it was I think it was 1,200 years. Why are we afraid? That's what
Yeah,
it's
that
called.
was on Shadows.
Yeah, I
I'd say
put
that.
there. That's a brutal educational clip.
Worth the watch, guys.
Yep. I mean, it goes on and on. It's like how it takes over and then it gets pushed back.
Is
And
it
it's
with the
been
gentleman that's like got glasses, a white gentleman from
Yep,
the US?
that's him. That's him.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
He has Political Islam is the name of the channel, and but yeah, he does a lot of stuff on that. And he's not. He'll tell you flat out. He's like, I'm not religious at all. He's like, I just look at the scientific basis of stuff. And here's the thing, Islam and Judaism, whatever, they don't think like Americans and Europeans think. We think in short term, like a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. No, they think in forms of generations.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of years, depending on which books you're reading of their religious genre. And we don't.
The end goal is a worldwide caliphate. I mean,
that's everybody.
Go read the hadiths and the Quran and the surahs and go listen to imams. This is what they want. This isn't my words, by the way. I don't have to propagate these things. This is what they want.
Everybody thinks
every
book,
house, exactly. Yeah. And so for me, this is the way it gets weird, right? Because I'm a gamer. I game with people from Egypt, Kuwait, and even Saudi Arabia, and I've had these discussions with them. And it's funny because some of them will openly outright say to me when I ask them, hey, do you want Sharia around the world? Some of them will just straight up say yes. And I'm like, okay. And then we go back to playing the game because at least I know where I stand with them. Other people don't even give me an answer. They go dead radio silent, which is giving me an answer in a way.
They don't want to talk about it because they'll get killed.
I respect the people that openly say to me, yes, I want it, because then I'm like, okay, I know where I stand with you. I don't hate you. I'll still conversate with you. I'll even play the game with you. But there's an element of like, if it was in an ideal situation and the ideal rules of what you want, you would then subjugate me to a second-class citizen to a degree. That doesn't mean I won't have any ability. Like, I could go to Saudi Arabia right now and sleep in a hotel and go out and interact with people as long as I abide by their laws, and I will be completely safe.
Right.
But also know that you aren't one of them.
Yeah. Well, unlike people who from other nations come to, say, London or America, they don't want to abide by our laws. They want to bring their laws with them.
Yeah, and this is where we separate religion and state, because Sharia law is religious, right?
But they are friendly. Like I said, I could go to Saudi Arabia right now and be friends with people. They would be so hospitable and nice.
Yeah.
But they're only hospitable and nice because everything's going their way and it's under their way, and I have to abide by their way. If I don't, they're not so nice to me, and vice versa. If they come here, they should do the same. But I'm not saying I'm singling Saudi out, but I'm not. Saudi for the most part is actually not the issue. It's more third world problems that come to the UK with these ideas more so than it is Saudi. So I'm not trying to say Saudi's the issue here. I'm just using that as a reference because these are the people that I speak to when I game. They're from Saudi Arabia, But it's good to have these conversations with them because you realize in many ways they are human. They do like a laugh. They're not as serious as people think, but they do hold views that I'm like, oh, that's a bit steep for me, you know. And
if you can have a conversation with somebody in another religion like that, and as long as you're courteous about asking your questions, asking to learn stuff, you can literally get them to tell you things without them telling you things. Does it say this in the Quran? You're allowed to lie to somebody.
Don't be obnoxious.
Right. And you don't be obnoxious. Like, I don't understand. How does that work? And they'll tell you, and just by the fact them telling you or reciting it means, yeah, they do it.
Right.
How much can you really believe of them? And that's where you have to decide where you stand on stuff.
I would say that that's just how people interpret it, though, right? You can, if you lived your life by the Old Testament, we'd be stoning people, and we'd be, stuff like that.
I say we because I'm not a Christian myself, but I would say Christians have, like the main story per se for Christ is the same, but some of the intricate things that are in the Bible that aren't necessarily the story of God, but are like laws to live by, they've changed those. They've kept the story of Christ the same, but the actual like morality side of things have changed. That's why you got the Old Testament and the New Testament. The story is very much similar with Christ and stuff like that, but the moral teachings and things like that have been revamped, refurbished because of modern times.
Right. Well, they've also
Quran says that it cannot be reverted, it will not be changed. So at what point do we have the discussion with Islamic people? Hey, listen, I'm willing to have this discussion with you, but how can we have it in a fair way? Do you know what I mean? You gotta, and this is where people get scared to speak. They're scared to speak.
Difference between Christianity and Islam in that respect is Islam's books have never changed. They have never been rewritten, modified, or ours are revised all the time. The Bible is constantly revised to try to figure out what did they really mean when they said this in Hebrew, or whatever language it was written in. So they're constantly revisioned. The Quran, the Hadith, and the Sirah are not. That's why they have their imams that will literally go through all three books to decide what does all these three mean. So they have one person decide, but they don't reword the Quran or the Hadith or the Sirah. They literally go with the words in certain areas of it, certain verses, to try to come up with the reason, a law or something like that. Unlike the Holy Bible, which is constantly being revised. You get the New American Version. You got like 30 different versions online. And even the King James Version, it was revised by, and I forget who revised it, but there were reasons why the revisions were made. It was because they believe this is what those people, what Mark or John meant back in that time. So they revised the words in it. They changed a lot of words, and which is kind of annoying to the fact, especially people who read it or learned about stuff when they were very young. Now all of a sudden they're changing things. Like, wait, that's not what I heard. That's not what I was taught. That's not what I believed. Why are you telling me to re-believe something and now change what I think about it? They don't do that in the Quran or the Torah. They just don't.
It's pitch, but people's the problem. People take segments.
Yeah.
Right. So in the Quran, it forbids the killing of human beings unless it's in very specific justifiable circumstances, and it emphasizes the sanctity of life. The Quran states that killing one person is the equivalent to killing all of mankind, and commands kindness and justice to non-combatants.
But that's one verse from the Quran. There's also one
so
later on.
It's not the books. It's not the religions.
No, my point is,
near that
there's also verses
you're allowed to kill without repercussions.
There's also verses that later go on to say about killing. So it's like, again, interpretation. But this is the problem. If a book is indefinite, if it's finite, if it's the truth, it should literally say, do not kill, do not steal, do not rob, do not rape. Like, it should be a definite, but it's left up to interpretation, which leaves me as a non-religious person to be like, well, I interpret it this way, you interpret it that way. So am I right or are you wrong? Are you wrong or am I right?
Like the Bible saying, do not kill. Unless you're not a Christian, then it's okay to kill.
And another thing is as well, right? Like the thing I do agree with
Hence
the Holy
the
Books,
Crusades.
We're sinners, right? We are sinners. That's something I do agree with the book. We do make mistakes. However, there are some mistakes I don't feel you can come back from. If you rape 50 people, you deserve to be fucking shot, in my opinion. If you kill 50 people, you deserve to not be breathing. Like, you need to go away. You're causing detriment to so many more people. At that
wouldn't
point,
go up to 50. I'd pretty much stop that at 1. But anyway.
Yeah. 49. Oh, you're okay. It's fine.
I suppose
one more time and you're going to hell, buddy. That's all I can say.
I suppose the thing I'm trying to
like
say,
having kids just one more time.
the thing I'm trying to say is I'm very wary of when someone comes along and says, "Don't worry, I got it. I got the idea." I'm very skeptical. Christopher Hitchens had a quote. He said, "If someone in religious robes came to my door and asked to babysit my children, first I call the police, then I call a cab." He's basically saying, like, whenever, like, there's nothing wrong with religious people. Like Mike said, it's all about interpretation. There are good people all over the place. The problem you have is, like, it's inevitable that people take the extreme. There's always going to be a positive and negative. There's no good without evil and evil without good. That's just how we are.
Because it's much easier to shirk responsibility and say that the voice told me to do it than you actually just being
Shift the blame.
tapped in the head. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
Wow, what a topic tonight, eh?
Yeah, these are the conversations that need to be had.
This don't get me banned, nothing.
The only thing is, we went from prepping and survival into perspectives.
Well, we went from war and prepping to religion, which correlates a lot of the time, because unfortunately, wars get started with, mixed in with, I'm not going to say started, because not all wars are holy wars. Like, look at Ukraine and Russia right now. They're both Christian countries and they're going to war. It's got nothing to do with Christian. It's a whole mix of. The thing is with this, I don't pretend to know the answer to Russia. I don't know if Russia's right or Ukraine's right. No one will ever know unless you see the transcripts and the papers and the messages from the officials of those both states.
Right.
You can't claim to know officially that we know who's right and wrong, and that's just where I stand on it. I always look at something as like a third eye,
very standoff objectively.
Always look
fair
from
enough.
above. Always look from above. Like
that's fair enough. I mean, people draw their own conclusions, and
I don't believe much I see on the news at all anymore. I mean, I'm talking much of anything until right away you get an answer, and then a day later it's changed a little bit, and then a week later it's changed away. Then 2 weeks later nobody's talking about it, so it's like, okay, what did I miss? Then you got to start
be brainwashed
in the off-topic stuff to figure out what really happened and come to your own conclusions at that point, because you're not going to get any more information. They're going to end it, and I posted on there before. Obama took away the Smith-Mundt Act back in 86 or 96, and which was basically a law put into Congress that the government cannot use the media for propaganda. Well, he took it away. Why did he do that? So they could use the media for propaganda. Now, Trump's putting it back or trying to put it back. And this is going to be interesting, because you look at news feeds and all that pre-Obama, they didn't really dig into too much. Now everything is it's funny. Everything is an op-ed, but they call it an op-ed. Why do they call it an op-ed? Because they don't want to use the full word of an opinionated editorial. Yeah. They call it an op-ed, therefore it must be true. And they blow it off and then tell you a story, and then there you are. Okay, I got to believe it. The news media said this is what happened. Well, they always put in there, it's an op-ed.
Yeah, they cover their own back.
Exactly. They just try to hide it in plain sight, and people just don't even know what that means anymore.
We can all be brainwashed. The reality is, it doesn't matter how smart you are. And so you have to, objectivity is the most important thing that you can take in any debate, any kind of like conflict. And when you look at it, you have to be really sincere in your decision to make a point. And the reality is, if you are wrong, if you do say something wrong and someone does correct you, you have to be 100% humble enough to be like, you know what, I fucked up there. Yeah. Do not be ignorant. Do not be like, don't be that guy. It's like about freedom. I can't remember who said it, but it's those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. Be very wary when someone says, I will do this for you, but we have to take this from you. I'm like,
no, it doesn't work like that.
Hate when mainstream media pushes some sort of agenda and stuff like that. So don't forget to like and subscribe and join the membership and join my Discord.
But you have to end it the way the media does. We all know that Mike has a #1 channel out there, so just subscribe like everybody else does.
Yeah, everyone else is already subscribed. Why aren't you?
That's the phrase that he used. We already know. We all know. Everybody knows. It's like, oh, everybody knows it. Well, I didn't know that. Well, I guess I know it now. So I better subscribe to Mike's channel right now. Do it.
I'd like to say before we go, Mike, This is my first panel, and I'm not gonna lie, this has been really good for me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a few things that I've like wanted to say, but I've never actually said it. And also hearing other people's point of view has been really interesting because this is what gives you the understanding of what's going on. This is what breaks down the barriers of bringing people closer together, and also with the prepping. Like, I think what you're doing is amazing. Because even if people don't take prepping as serious as you, Ben, Brian, Chef, and Alan and all that, that's fine. But as long as they get the basics with like the food, the water, the seeing things for how they are, that's what people need to revert to, in my opinion, like our great grandparents did. And I think that's a good thing. So yeah, cheers for having me on.
I mean, the different opinions is what it's all about. All right, it's an open mic night, so if somebody's like an extreme left or anything like that, they could come on and talk. This is why I admired Charlie Kirk, because he gave people like that a platform they would never had. Their little voice would have never got around the world if it hadn't been for him.
He didn't deserve that, man.
Come and debate it, and he said
brutal.
when people stop talking, that's when you get violence, and that's what happened. And yeah, so that's why I will invite anybody on here. We'll have a difference of opinion. At the end of the day, if we can then draw a line under it and then all go and have a drink together, that's what matters.
That's what it's about. Yeah. 100%.
Don't stop talking.
Cheers
Don't
to
stop
that.
talking. Yeah. I'm on water, but cheers anyway.
No weekend yet.
Oh no, I don't drink anymore, so
No
it's
good
what
on
it
you.
is. Water it is.
Hey, Mike, check the private chat. So I work right now. It is just about 6 p.m. my time. I work until 5:30 p.m. during the week, my time. So in the future, just chuck me a link on my email there, and that way, because I mean, I love to pop up. I love the fact this is the first time I think, or maybe second time I've been up on your second time I've been up. I love being up here because I'm like the only American that comes up here. I don't bash anybody. I just like to throw my perspectives out there of what's going on here, and not make fun of or whatever the media told me is going on over there and say, hey, you got this problem. You may not have that problem. I don't know. It's what the media told me, but I don't bother with that.
That's it, though, isn't it? Like, realistically, if all's going well or things are coming to a better circumstance for your own people in your own country, who doesn't really deep down want to be patriotic? That's what, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's like loving your own. Because if you don't love your own, how are you supposed to love anybody else? It's like you're just you have to feel
Getting proper deep now. Getting proper deep.
But you know what I mean? Like you have
Yeah.
you have to have a base. If you don't have a base, that's where people get lost in no man's land. Bad reference, my bad. But you get the idea, right? The idea is there, and that's what it's about.
Purple Ale is trying to drag us back on topic.
Yeah,
Okay,
Someone
what's
in the
that?
chat-
There was no topic. There was no topic. It's open mic. But question.
Someone in the
if-
chat said, when are we ever on topic? And it's funny because every time I watch you, Brian, and stuff, Brian cracks me up, man. Every time I watch that guy, he has me in stitches every time.
No, you need to get to a prepper meet. Honestly, you'll go home with a sore jaw from laughing.
Sore jaw and a hangover.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget a Delta 2 in your pocket.
Yeah, probably. Purple Ale said, question, if you had to move somewhere but because of family you can't leave the UK, which area would you want to move to and why? Well, that's my exact scenario, Purple Ale.
Northern Scotland.
I would emigrate to the States tomorrow if I could, but I can't. So we are looking at going.
Where would you go, Mike?
We're going off grid in Scotland. That's
No, I
where we're
mean,
looking to
if
land.
you went to the States, where would you go? What state? Because for me, it'd either be Florida or
You
Texas.
probably go to like
Freedom,
Montana,
baby.
Utah, Pennsylvania, Maine.
When I was going to get a house, or when I got offered a job and a house over there, it was Houston.
Oh, geez.
Because it's quite a tech city. So with me being a web developer, it was a really good job and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to be in a city, anywhere near a city.
What about Alaska?
I would probably no,
That's
not
before.
that, not that remote. I like the heat.
I'm
I
in
liked
Pennsylvania
I liked Texas. I enjoyed Texas, but to be honest, I've got friends all over, like from East Coast to West Coast. So I would just do my research beforehand. I don't know enough now to tell you a state. I know that I enjoyed where I went to in Texas.
You wouldn't want to go California, but
No.
I saw both areas of Texas. I saw really bad areas when I went around Lubbock because we were touring where Buddy Holly lived, and he lived in some places that you couldn't wear certain colours on the coach driving through there, or you might get shot at. We were
Texas
warned
is
that.
huge, man. Texas is like 2.5 times the size of UK. Like one area of Texas is completely different to another, you
Yep.
know. So if there is a bad area, you can go so far to the east or to the west or wherever, and it's like you're living in a different part, you know. So
I just want to find the right moderate climate, the right price for land, and that's all I care about.
A little bit of heat, a little bit of cold, not an extreme of either one, and yeah, I can go off grid and be good.
And if my neighbor happens to have multiple freeze dryers and is a chef, that'd be handy too. Just saying.
Pennsylvania's on the list, I guess.
as for you going off grid in Scotland, I think to the question that came in about where would you go, Scotland's probably, if you want to get away from all the shit, Scotland's probably the way to go.
I loved living in Wales. There's parts of
I'm
Wales
in
you
Wales
could
now, but I'm on
disappear
the
in,
border.
I was in Blaenau-Festiniog in North Wales.
Oh yeah, nowhere near there.
That's like Welsh the first language, English the second kind of thing. But I mean, there's all sorts of places you could go. I'm not tied to Scotland. It's just what
Yeah.
obviously my missus is Scottish and all her family's up there.
Yeah.
I don't think you could truly go off grid in
No,
this
you
country
can't.
anywhere.
No, you
Unless
can't.
you want to live in the complete remote highlands or on an island in the middle of nowhere. The country's just not big enough. All these people that think they're going to bug out to the Yorkshire Dales, you're going to bump into somebody every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
They'll be doing the 3 peaks and they'll just pop up.
Well, my new bug out plan is to get to Scotland with no equipment because I'll just pick it up off all the dead hikers that couldn't make it.
There you go.
Ben, where would you move in the UK if you wanted to? If you had to get out?
Scottish Highlands.
Highlands. Oof, you gotta go up there. Oof, it's cold.
I like the cold.
There's
They're
wild
in
haggis.
Perfect.
There's wild haggises running around everywhere.
Yeah, and there's no firewood to burn. Whoops.
It's
Yeah,
perfect
that's
training
okay.
ground though.
Plenty
It's
of
perfect
rum.
training ground to like
There
hike
is-
and stuff. Like it'll get you fit as a fiddle up there.
I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a survival channel, and he does stuff in the Highlands, but he's in a kilt. He's in the full regalia from
Yeah.
like
Oh Jesus
1800s.
Christ! It's poor
And
Johnny
he
Shrivel.
lives like they did as Highlanders, and you really have to know the land. Like,
Oh, definitely.
really have to know the land.
What, full traditional, 100%. Like
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't
that's
remember his name.
hardcore. That's
Yeah,
Like
hard.
carts
it's really
dangling
good.
in the breeze. Yep.
Jesus. I mean, I respect people that can do it. You know, when I saw funny because we all laugh at, like, I say we, but general people laugh at people that live in the Amazon, live on Sentinelese Island and all that. They're going to be the only ones left when all this stuff goes up.
They won't even know it's happened.
No, they won't. They'll just be chilling. Everyday occurrence for them.
Just like the Amish here, they're already off grid. They'll never know the difference.
Yeah, I mean that's my prepping plan originally, because I don't have Brian's EcoFlow budget that he seems to have. My prepping plan was kind of Amish-esque. I used to be a part of the American Civil War Society in the UK, which is 1860s, which is that kind of technology that the Amish kind of are at that level. And everything's hand tools, it's fire, it's canvas tents, it's knowing how to do stuff like that. And yeah, it's a much more
It's a blissful life.
economic way of prepping than trying to keep your entire
it's a hard
house
life,
powered.
but it's an honest life. And I think
Simplistic. Yeah.
it's hard, but it's honest. But I think to sum it up, it's people always say, "Oh, this is a man, that's a man," all this crap. Real men are like old school, Amish type. Like that. That's like when I think of men, I think of like legit survivalist. Like there's people that used to just walk off into Alaska. What's that guy? He just lived in Alaska on his own for years. He died now, but that's a proper guy right there. That's one
Grizzly
of the
Adams.
guys.
There's a lot of them that died off grid up there. We just haven't found them yet.
Yeah.
They're literally frozen.
There's so
the
many
remote net.
half-finished YouTube videos up there somewhere.
I think like young kids though, they think that men are like these roided up, huge. Like those roid heads, they're the first to go because once you're in the wild, right, and there's nothing you can't get your fix of steroid, you're gonna have all sorts of mental health problems. You're gonna shrink. You're gonna be needing your 6-7 meals a day. Well, you ain't having that out there. So naturals on top, man, 100%. Naturals on top.
Well, I mean, each to their own. I say in that respect. I've got too many friends that are bodybuilders to.
I got
comment.
loads, and it's hilarious. They come to the dark side. I'm like, nah, no thanks.
I like prepping / survival. I grew out of ideologies a long time ago. Just going to get through some of these comments before we go. I wouldn't want to be on the West Coast due to Cascadia fault.
Yeah, that's West Coast America. Yep.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
worrying.
that's all
now.
grumbling. Hell, we're even starting to grumble here on the East Coast. So let's go with that.
Is that where the Yellowstone?
Yep.
Yes,
Yellowstone is on the Great American Craton on the edge.
We're all screwed if that goes up. I was watching the scientist talk about it. It's like some Asian-looking scientist guy. He was on Joe Rogan years ago, and I'm doing a disservice. I don't know his name, sorry, but he talked about it, and he said like the world would be a nuclear winter. It's that big. 21 of the 50 states would be completely destroyed. 50 states would be into like several like houses worth of ash. The whole of the Atlantic would have a sweep of wind that would bring the ash over to Europe, killing loads of the crops.
Well, forget that part. All the ash that gets up into the upper stratosphere and travels around the globe.
Yeah, and it
literally 3-5 years of no sunlight.
Nuclear winter, they say, don't they?
Yeah, everything would die. Those who can survive.
So may as well go to Scotland because they have 3 or 4 years of more sunlight most times anyway.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, you'd be fine up there. Yeah, you don't get any sunlight. So
the only light up there will be flying in his power banks.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, next time, every Saturday at, I forget what time it is, your time over there. But
7 o'clock our time.
7 o'clock, Shadow Scat Squeed goes live.
I've seen a couple of his videos.
Yeah, he pops the link out there. I'm pretty much always on there. I got to keep some other guy under control most of the time. Was bad at it, and could keep him from going off the rails in certain directions. But yeah, pop up there.
I might end up joining a. Hey, this has been brilliant, man. Honestly, like this is what it's all about for me, and I'm sure I don't want to say I'm going to get radicalized with prepping, but I'm sure I'm going to hit it up a notch for sure, 100%.
You don't have to be a prepper. Just be prepared. I mean, just be early.
I think the term prepper is ridiculous. Like I've watched all the old Doomsday stuff from 10 years ago. I love watching them, by the way. I go rewatch them because it's hilarious.
Yeah, and they all got proclaimed insane and nuts and nutbags.
It's funny though. It's funny. It's hilarious.
The Doomsday Preppers thing. What got me with that was the American series of that, because we had a UK one over here. The American series of that there was one guy had a bunker, all the supplies in the world, a massive arsenal, and he was about 27 stone overweight in a mobility scooter. And he was telling me how prepared he was. I'm like, you could collapse on the way down the stairs.
Right. Like, people have never carried a 40-pound rucksack. Like, I do it on a regular. I train. I do military standard. I try to time, like, a minimum standard's 15 minutes a mile. And I load my rucksack up. And I live on the... I live in Wales, but I live, like, right on the border. But it's still very hilly here. And I'll go for, like, 2-3 hours. And if you've never carried that weight, even if you're, like, in shape, you will not have any hope in hell in carrying it if he's as big as the guy.
Oh, Mike did that on a bicycle with a trailer and failed.
He did pretty well considering you didn't really do like a bunch of training for it. You prepped for it, but you didn't train for it. And I think like you did pretty well considering. But I do think if you trained for that, Mike, you would have flied through it. You'd do 100 miles a day.
It's less about the training, it's about the load and learning from the mistakes, because if I'd have took a different route and not just trusted an app to take me on the best cycling route, I'd have done all right. And if I'd have loaded the bike instead of pulling a trailer, I'd have done a lot better as well. So you learn these things, but it's better to learn it now in peace times than me having to do that. So the scenario behind that, so everyone knows, is my bug out plan is not just to get to Scotland on a bike, right? It's a ridiculous concept to have that as your only bug out plan. That's not my bug out plan. My situation is she has family up there. So if she was up there herself with her family, with my kids,
and you couldn't drive,
I was down here working and for some reason couldn't drive EMP, whatever it is, I would get there. It might take me not a week, but it might take me 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, but I would get there. And that was the whole premise behind it.
It was a good episode, like series that you did as well. I think because, you know, I looked at it from a perspective of like, oh, I could do that. And I don't mean to say that in bragging, but I think when I look back in it, it's like, no, this isn't for people like me. It's for people that are the average day foe that like have families. And if they can see that Mike can do it with the minimal training, but like the maximum amount of prepping, anyone can get through it. It might take you a day, 2 days, 3 days. It doesn't matter. The reality is going from point A to point B. If you can do it, you can do it. And that's what it's about. It's not about like speed, because I'm sure there's a cyclist out there that can do it in a day. I'm sure of it. Like a professional cyclist could probably do it in a day. We're not all,
There's people that have done a lot longer, and they've had people driving along, and they've brought all their equipment with them and stuff like that. If I was just me on a bike, I could cover lots of distance. At the end of the day, I think if it was a real SHTF situation, I'd put more stock in a good solid knife and a water filter and a tarp, and then everything else I would find, scavenge, take, or get
I'd like to
en
add to
route.
that, Mike. I'd like to add that. And I'll never, my dad's mate, he's also ex-military as well. He said to me, there's a couple of things you cannot cheap out on. He said your sleep system and your boots and your rucksack. Why is that? You're with your sleep system or your boots, you're either in one and you're out the other. So that's why it's important. So you need a good tarp and sleep system and a good boots. And then the third one's your rucksack. I cannot stress enough, I've tried so many rucksacks. As soon as I went to like a very expensive Caramel 100-liter, 60-liter pack that I could convert with the huge padding, I can carry weight like no other. I couldn't believe the difference. I'm so glad I bit the bullet and I spent the money on a proper rucksack. Because I used to load 30 pounds, 40 pounds in like a normal cheap 50 pound, 100-pound rucksack, and I could carry it, but my shoulders would be in agony. As soon as I bought
you need a good hip belt with good support, because
I think mine's the Caramel Predator. It's like the 80, 130 liter. It converts. The padding on that thing is insane. If you train with like 50, 60 pounds on a rucksack with that, after a few weeks of using that weight, your shoulders don't hurt because the padding's just like insane. The only thing you got to worry about is your legs giving out. It's
Jess Pixie said, "Can't you get an EMP shield for your car?"
They sell them for like your processors and that. However, you're never going to know if it works until there's an EMP.
Exactly. And you could be buying a metal box with a blinking light,
and you still have to.
I don't trust them.
You still need to have the wires running through it to run your car. So there's no way it can work unless you buy a spare. If your car only has one computer in it, which most cars these days have at least 12, unless you buy a spare of every one of your computers and know how to change them out in your car and program them, because that's the other thing these days, and keep it in an EMP bag, multiple shielded. So if something happens, you just swapping out all your processors. No, don't bother. Get a bicycle.
I think Preparing the Path had a good thing. He said, I would rather prep for no electricity. And I think that's the best. Like, it's good having electrics, like Brian's power banks. I think that's amazing, because if the electricity does go down, you can still get power. That's awesome. But ultimately, end goal should be if everything goes in a blinker.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we don't just prep for, zombie uprisings and doomsday and all the ridiculous stuff.
Everyday occurrences.
It's a week without power. If you could run your entire house with a week without power, bonus, and then you charge it up after that. But for me, long-term prepping is like what we mentioned with the Amish and stuff like that, because that's what we'd be going back to. At the end of the day, if you could buy right now, I'll send you a link, everyone on the chat, so you can help my Amazon, but you can buy an EcoFlow quite cheap on Amazon compared to what they used to be. It's a really good power bank. It'll run your freezer for a while, stuff like that. But unless you're an engineer, if that goes wrong, what is plan B?
That's like everybody was like, oh, Mark, you have so much food, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, my wife already knows this plan. If the power goes out for 1 or 2 days, I got my Jackery, I got a couple gas generators and that, but you're going to run out of fuel unless you can get it locally or somewhere. But if that keeps going more than about the third day, if I don't see anything coming, nope, out comes the propane stoves. I got enough propane tanks to do all this always, and my big stove and all my pressure canners, and any kind of meat or anything in the freezer is either getting eaten or pressure canned. And now I'll get another 3 to 5 years out of it, because that's our plan.
Yeah.
She knows it. She knows where all my jars are. She knows how to help me. She never really had to help me, but if it comes to that, oh yeah, she'll be running around, rinsing jars out, sanitizing them, sterilizing them, whatever, and winding me up, and I'll be packing stuff in jars, and it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 days of nothing but pure canning and getting all my food to keep it from going bad, period.
Canning something I think's like very wise, because for centuries people have done it, and then all of a sudden in the past like 70 years people just dropped it, and it's kind of like one of those things, like you dropped one of the most essential things, which is like holding food for storage for long periods of time. And why, like, especially for winters, if you live in a cold place, and that's just a must in my opinion, like for having food storage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, That's why I looked at salting meat and stuff like that, and how how they used to preserve it on ships.
Have you watched the show Alone, Mike?
Yes.
Have you seen that episode where I can't remember which series it was, but a guy was so tired of eating beef jerky that his jaw was hurting. He was blistering up in his mouth because it was so dry, because he had preserved all the, I think it was like a moose or a bear he killed, and he was eating so much beef jerky thinking, oh, I'll be fine, I've just got dried meat. I think he smoked it actually as well, and his mouth was blistering. He said his jaw was aching because he was eating so much of it, because he didn't have any soft palatable food. Yeah, and I thought that was a very interesting thing that he never knew that it would happen to him, and he was a survivalist. You know, all those guys that go on that show, they know what they're doing, and even then, in that situation, he was like, "Holy shit! Like I didn't think of this," you know?
Yeah, I mean, people say to me, like, when I was in the Northeast, a lot of people that go out getting rabbits and stuff like that, and that's how they will survive when it hits the fan. You can starve to death eating rabbit.
Protein poisoning, because you can't get that. Jordan off season 6, I think it was. He was a guy that used to train out in Siberia with traditional tribes. I think it's season 6 alone. He would catch 50 rabbits and squirrels a day, and he said he was struggling to keep his body weight up. Only when he killed the moose was he able to preserve and hold on to all that fat reserve, because, like you said, there's just not enough on them when you have to go out every day and put 50 traps and snares down. And yeah, but he did say though, fishing is number one. He as a guy that like he stayed there the longest, and he did it with ease as well. He won like really easy. Season 6 it was on Alone, or season 7, one of the two. But
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that.
I would, but I know I wouldn't win because the guys that go on there, they're proper. You know, they are proper.
Some of them are. We watched the English series, and when we were all introducing them, there was a lad that used to be a joiner. Both me and the missus said, "Oh yeah, he looks good. He looks like he really knows what he's doing." Cut his leg open in the first day and had to be evac'd out of there.
Wait, have you not watched the American one?
I've watched that as well. Yeah.
Oh, they got an Australian one too, where they went to Tasmania. That was a thing. But for me, the American one's where it's at. Like that one was badass. Like the first one, season 1, episode 1, Alan Kay. That guy is that guy's legit. He convinced me on having a kukri.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice tool to have.
He basically said it's God's axe, you know.
I have dug broken chest freezers in my garden, obviously hidden, but keeps the temps down. Yeah, there you go. Your ground fridges, you can buy them, can't you? So, it's another one.
Oh, Alan had a good bit up in the chat. Alan Bold, he said Osprey packs are very good. Yeah, the new ones, the Osprey Ether Plus is like the big ones with the huge padding. They're good. They're really good for hikers and through hikers. But for long term, you want to look more Cordura. So things like the Caramel packs, like the Caramel Sabres or the Caramel Predators, because they just don't wear down. The material, it's not as lightweight as the Ospreys, but it doesn't matter because it's made for military use where you can throw it 1,000 times and it's still good.
Swear by anything the military uses, because people say, oh, it's just the lowest bidder. It's not. It's tried, it's tested, it's durable, because it has to be.
The Caramel SF packs, in my opinion, they don't have the most modern design with like middle zips and stuff like that. It's just one big sack, but it's all Cordura, heavy duty YKK zips, huge hip kidney belt and massive straps, and you can carry so much gear in them, and you can do it with ease. You know, it's worth the price, I think.
A YouTuber I follow will be on a season of Naked and Afraid series. Other YouTubers, nobody needs to see this naked. It's just, you know, we don't need to add that to the survival situation. Clothes, our keep. Right, I think I'm going to call it there, gentlemen, because I was going to go till 11 and it's 20 past. Jake, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, Mike, you too, man. Keep it up, because honestly, I love it. I love it. Every episode you put out, I watch it. And you said Shadow Scout, right, Chef?
Yeah, Shadow Scout Swede. Yeah.
Swede. Yeah, I've seen a few of Mike's join in live streams.
Mike will throw it live on his channel about an hour or so into it, usually.
Yeah, if he's not on dad duties.
I think the guy I've seen on there that I found quite interesting, I think he was a South African guy. I forgot his name.
Yep.
Guardian.
That's it. Yep. That guy, he has a very interesting perspective, and he seems quite knowledgeable, to be fair.
When Shadow does it, he's got him, Shadow's in Sweden, Mike's in England, and my dog is barking. Shut up, dude. And we got South Africa. We got me on East Coast. Bob pops in. He's on the West Coast. Another guy from London pops in. That's the one I keep track.
What's happened with Gil?
He's on. He went off the rails. He got YouTube and is trying to pay YouTube back by not doing anything. Which, okay, whatever. I know.
Oh.
There's a whole. We could talk about that offline at some point.
Right. Okay. I chucked you an email anyway, just so you've got my email.
Oh, perfect. All right.
But yeah, we'll talk soon anyway.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, me
Mark, thank you for coming
Thanks,
on as
Mike.
well. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining in. I threw in my Amazon store link if you're interested in any of the products we talked about. I've got a lot of stuff on there. It doesn't cost you any extra. It gives a couple of pence to the channel, so it's a good way to support without, costing you anything extra. So go and check
I hope
that
I
out
didn't
if
come
you get
across
chance.
as a complete lunatic.
You're a complete nutter, Jake. Get
Yeah,
out my
I know,
house.
what
No, I'm
can
joking. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Press the right button, Mike. There we go.